Good afternoon, guys. I'm Jasmine Cornell here at the streaming desk here at Fox 5 News Live. Weather has impacted many of us today. I know you all drove in this morning to work possibly and got hit by some rain, maybe some warnings, some storm warnings, tornado warnings. Jonathan Stacy is here next to me to talk about the weather and what we can expect over the next over the day, the next few days.
Oh, we got a lot to work through, so I'm just going to handle today.
Okay,
Because
I
today is
understand.
more than enough.
It is,
So
yes.
severe storms rocking us through the overnight into the morning. There's been kind of a lull in the activity, but now we're turning to severe weather.
Okay.
From severe weather to winter weather. And
Okay.
what we have here on the board is basically like a splash of a can of purple paint. So let me make sense of it all here. We have a freeze warning, and that's for all counties, no matter the shade of purple. That's all counties across North Georgia. It starts tonight, and it will continue all the way through the majority of the day tomorrow in terms of the morning hours. And that's when we'll have sub-freezing temperatures. But what is most important right now is the winter weather advisory, which impacts several counties across northwest Georgia into north central Georgia, where you could get some light accumulation over the, like really now all the way till about 2 o'clock. The National Weather Service, members of the Fox 5 Storm Team, we've been trying to nail this down, but basically what we're having to look and see is basically what happened in Alabama. That's giving us an idea of what could happen to us. So I'm going to go ahead and run the radar here, and then I'm going to put it on pause. And I want you to see just how robust this low or this snow band is right here. That is along I-59 in Alabama. So if you can kind of work with me here, what you're looking at, if I were able to show you this, I would, but a camera in Huntsville would show that there are some roads in Huntsville that are snow covered. Roads in Huntsville that are snow covered, with parts of the Huntsville metro area getting a quarter to a half inch of snowfall based on this one particular band right here. So I want to kind of just zoom in here. The light blue is not what we're concerned about. We're concerned about the deeper colors of blue. And this same swath just moved across the Birmingham metro area, and they have snow on grassy surfaces. And so out 59 there, out 20, along 459, from Hoover all the way down to Calera through Pelham, up net Sylacauga, Talladega there, and 59. So what we're seeing here is a really narrow band of snow, and that band of snow is going to move to the east into Georgia. It's the air temperature that is falling that is allowing for what should be just light rain showers to turn over pretty quickly here. And if this band continues to move at its same speed as it moves to the east, that's where we're starting now to see the opportunity for accumulation. Once again, of course, on the elevated surfaces like your bridges and overpasses and on grasses. But there also could be some roads that could be impacted, especially where the temperature has already fallen. So a couple of minutes ago, I took a look at our camera at Lookout Mountain, and we can now see that there are flurries there. And we're seeing this changeover really from Scottsboro, passing the lake and going over 59. It's quite mountainous there, and all the communities that are there are, generally above about 1,500 feet. So you're going to obviously find that there's colder air there, but I think that colder air will also be afoot, especially as this very narrow but very robust band of snow crosses the state line. If it does, according to folks over at the Weather Service, they're suggesting between the hours of 2 and 5 p.m. that we could have a sleet snow mix here in the metro area. We're just going to kind of have to wait and see how this all pans out. I'm going to show you a model here before I leave you, because we got to get to the other folks who are in the field covering the impacts of today's severe weather. But if I have a second here, Jasmine, I want to show you this model. This will give us an idea here of what we got. So It's 2 o'clock. The temperature here in Atlanta is now 38 degrees, 38 in Canton, but you see where it's 34, 35, 36 from Dalton all the way down to Carrollton. I'm thinking that's when we're going to see this changeover. So sleet snow mix as far south as I-20, up 475, 575. This is 3 o'clock. Now, if this turns out to be true, it's going to be a tricky afternoon across much of the area. We're just going to really, honestly, folks, we're going to have to see how it all pans out. So stick with us as we go throughout the afternoon. Of course, we'll be here on the stream covering it all.
Yeah, Jonathan, a lot going on in the weather department today, and just hope you all stay safe out there. That rain was a lot this morning, and now we're going to be into cold temperatures, getting back into that weather. So yep. Stay safe, stay warm, guys.
Everywhere tonight. No one escapes the 20s if you're here in the state of Georgia.
All right, Jonathan, thank you so much for sharing our some updates from the weather department there. Okay, guys, let's take a look at a news suppressor that's happening right now. Some TSA workers are speaking out due to the long wait times and workers calling out, and they have missed their paychecks. That's the main thing here. This comes on the heels of the first missed paycheck, according to their news release. Today, some union leaders representing these TSA workers, and the union leaders are also TSA workers, are hosting this conference. Let's listen in.
I've actually had the chance to talk to so many TSA agents, and they're saying people can't come to work because they don't have child care, gas is high, they can't get here. But what we were able to do is come up with a solution. This is not a partisan problem. It's actually a problem for all people. We came up with a solution. We brought thousands of dollars worth of food here today to make sure that the TSA workers can get something to eat. Listen, I'm calling on Congress to fix this thing because people need to get to work and they need to get to eat. But the thing about it is, the TSA, without the TSA, this whole airport was shut down. This is in Clayton County, y'all. And the airport was shut down, and meaning that we could not get to the areas that we need to get to. So let's fix this problem. Let's come up with solutions, not just problems. And I'm Dr. Heavenly Combs, and I want to tell y'all, thank you, TSA workers, for coming to work. Thank you, all essential workers, for coming to work in this partial government shutdown.
Next, we'll have George Borick.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is George Borick, the last name B-O-R-E-K. I am a shop steward here for AFGE. Aaron hit on a lot of the points that we are faced with today, but let me go back in time with myself. I am a retired firefighter. I worked for 34 years and 4 months in Jersey City, New Jersey. I was there for the 93 bombing of the World Trade Center. I was there for 9/11. One of the things that we took out of these incidents is that when you have turmoil in the country and turmoil in the world, you gear up. You gear up your resources, different locations. There's more police here. You know, we should have more TSA. But we can't do that unless Congress does what they need to do. Fund us. Let us go back to work. Let us gear up. We have a lot of things that are going to be happening. You have a soccer tournament coming soon, 6 weeks. We need to do our job. We want to do our job, but they're preventing us from doing our job. When people have to make a determination whether it stay home with their children, take care of their children, or they have no gas, we want to do our job. So let me just leave this. Congressional people always say that they're going into communities and sitting at the table on kitchen table issues. This is a kitchen table issue. I challenge them, come into the different airports, no matter where you are in the country. Sit at the table, speak to the TSA officers, find out from them what's going on. Because I can tell you, they're going to hear a different story than what they're not hearing right now. Thank you.
All right, so I will take any questions if anyone has them. Yes. I would say that is the reason why that checkpoint is closed.
Is it frustrating for TSA officers like you and everyone else that you guys have to close down the checkpoint, which results in travelers waiting 2.5 hours?
So the moving around throughout the airport and closing the checkpoint, it doesn't really faze the officer because we have a mission that we have to complete. But the not receiving pay and the requirement to come in and the threat of disciplinary action, the AWOL is a problem.
But is it frustrating for you guys that you guys can't do the job you get?
Oh, absolutely, yes. Because most people I'm not going to say most, the officers have taken an oath.
All right, guys, you are listening to some TSA workers speaking out there after they say they're working without pay. They've missed their first paycheck in this government shutdown, DHS funding fight. Just a little bit of background here. This press conference that TSA is holding is at Hartsfield-Jackson in Atlanta, and they're calling out the ongoing government shutdown that is once again forcing them to work without pay, to show up to work without pay. So I know that's frustrating for many people, no matter what industry you're in. They say that they've missed their first full paycheck during this current shutdown. And with spring break travel picking up and TSA wait times across the country starting to increase, they say that this airport is busy and something needs to be done as soon as possible. So we'll continue to follow this and bring you more information, more updates on the TSA workers press conference here and what they are saying. For now, let's go ahead and head over to our assignment desk and take a look at what Fox 5 is covering today. Hey there, Tanya.
Hi, Jasmine. Yeah, it's been a crazy weather day. I was just listening to Jonathan talk about possible wintry mix in our viewing area. So that's wild, considering that this morning we had our crews on severe weather and storms that came through the area. I don't know about you, Jasmine, but I was definitely I woke up this morning by the sounds of thunder and there was lightning outside. So I didn't even need my alarm clock this morning. Mother Nature did it for me. But right now, what I want to mention is we had crews out to some of the damage throughout the metro area. Our reporter Ray Yedina was in Stockbridge, and at this home in Stockbridge, and you're seeing the video right there on Jasper Drive. Residents say at around 6 a.m., a large tree from a neighbor's yard fell onto their roof. They have significant damage there. And let's listen into what they told Ray this morning.
I heard a loud boom. I ran upstairs to check on my mom, and she was coming out of her room. And when I came back down, there was a tree inside of my window in the sunroom down here. And when I went back upstairs, the ceiling was cracked and there was water coming through the ceiling. So also the tree hit the top of the roof and damaged the sunroof upstairs.
Yeah, that was Brandy Allen, the daughter of the homeowners at this house on Jasper Drive in Stockbridge. Scary moments for them after severe weather moved through the area. We also had photographer Billy Heath out in the Rockdale County area where there were downed trees and debris. It created a difficult commute for drivers this morning. So firefighters were seen clearing the roadways and doing their job out there. We did have a driver on Bonds Lake Road that reported a tree fell on his car. And he was actually trying to not leave, I guess, his house and hunkered down because of the tornado threat at the time. And then when he thought he was safe, he left, but yet he still had a tree fall on his car. So crazy situation for him. Billy Heath got video out there as well. I want to move on to the next story, Jasmine. And this involves a press conference this morning in Villa Rica. As you recall, last week, our Kevin Stewart reported 12-year-old Jada West passed away following a fight when she got off the school bus last week. She was in a coma and then sadly passed away. The family and attorneys for Jada West spoke out this morning at this press conference demanding answers. So let's listen in to see what they're saying.
Good morning. My name is Harry Daniels, along with Gerald Griggs, also Kimberly Grant of Grant Law Office, and my co-counsel, Benjamin Crump. We have the honor of representing the West family. Let me start by saying this, is that I don't think anybody here standing here today want to be here today, and myself included. This is not just a representation for me of a client, but also a representation of my family member. I was related to Jada. Family, we are cousins, mom and I. On March 5th, These parents receive news, information no parent want to receive about what happened to their child. An innocent 12-year-old who only wanted to go to school, Jada, who was subjected to things that children should never be subjected to my understanding, reports that
Okay.
some bullying.
All right. So we'll have more on that press conference later today with Evan Stewart. I do want to mention no charges have been filed at this time, and the exact cause of death has not been determined yet. So lots of questions to be answered in that community. I do want to mention as well that the mother, Jada's mother, said that there was a severe bullying going on of Jada since she had transferred to Mason Creek Middle School. She did say that. However, no charges have been filed in this case, and the video that was online that was going viral, we are going to have that video in our story later today and probably on our website later today as well, so people can take a look at that online closer to 4, 5, and 6 today. Jasmine?
Tanya, you know, this is a big story, so I'm wanting to see this conference as well, and also see what our reporter gets on this as the story continues to unfold. There's one more story that we have too that is big here in this area. Today marks 5 years since the spa shootings in the metro Atlanta area. Can you talk about that? Because they're being remembered right now, I believe, right?
Yes. At the state capitol right now, there is a press conference going. Actually, I'm sorry. It happened at noon. There's a press conference that took place at noon, and our reporter, Deidre Dukes, was there. Basically, Representative Longtran and other advocates held a press conference at the Capitol to honor the victims of the 2021 spa shootings. The event focuses on the progress made in the 5 years since the tragedy and the ongoing work to address hate and violence. I do want to mention 8 people were killed during the spa shootings. That, it was a big story here. I know you weren't here at the time, but it was a huge story, national attention, and we're continuing to follow it because the accused shooter who pled guilty in Cherokee County for the murders there, he is now facing still more court hearings here in Fulton County. He faces a death penalty, and we'll be following that case closely.
And Tanya, recently he was in court, right? Robert Aaron Long, he filed a motion in his case. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I don't have all the details about the motion,
Okay.
but I know that a judge had ruled recently that phone tracking data obtained via an app is admissible in the trial of Robert Aaron Long. That was one of the things that came up. But we'll have the latest details and updates on this case as soon as they happen in court. And obviously today is about remembrance for the victims, and that's what the press conference that was held was about. And also, Michelle, right behind me here, was mentioning that Lucy McBath also sent out a press release today remembering the victims. So we'll try to have information on that later today as well.
Okay, thank you so much, Tanya. Yes, we do want to make sure we do focus on the victims today. They are being remembered. So thanks, Tanya, for joining us and giving us an update on what Fox 5 is covering today. Guys, your time is 1:18. When we return, we'll talk about the Oscars and speak with TMZ. We'll have some banter there about what happened. The wait in Hollywood is over, guys. Oscar winners take their place in film history with an exciting night at the Academy Awards. TMZ is joining us to talk about the top moments, the wins, and the emotional tributes. Anakin Shev is here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So, I didn't get to watch the Oscars, but I know Michael Jordan did his thing. So let's talk about that first, because a lot of us are excited about that.
Sure, yeah. Michael B. Jordan, star of probably the biggest movie of the year, Sinners, which had numerous amounts of nominations throughout the night. Sinners obviously earned the award, I guess, historically speaking, of having the most nominations in Oscars history for one single night. And Michael B. Jordan was one of the nominees for Sinners who took away the Best Actor award, and no wonder. He played two characters at once. He totally carried in the movie. And on top of everyone else who he was going against in the all the other nominees, celebrating his huge victory and receiving the award. His mother was there, as you can see on the screen, and Tiana Taylor as well was very, very supportive. His speech was a lovely memento to his cast, to the crew, and to really pumping up the creators out there, the ones who are out here making things happen and bring their imagination to life in an industry that now seems to not champion movies like Sinners, which are very original and not necessarily based off of something else or a sequel or a reboot. It was just a really lovely thing to see that Michael B. Jordan really deserved an award, and finally he has one. There he is, Michael B. Jordan, entering the list of famous MJs with a nice golden Oscar.
Yes, I'm so happy for him. So big congrats to him. And I didn't get to hear the speech, but I'll have to go back and listen to it. Another film name I saw on here was Weapons. I don't know if you've seen that movie, but I saw that movie, and the woman who plays, I may mispronounce her wrong, but Amy Madigan, she plays the scary lady from that movie.
Yes.
She won an award too, so I was happy to see that on the list. But a movie called One Battle After Another won big as well. So you want to talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. One Battle After Another is another one of those movies that was right alongside Sinners of being one of the biggest movies of the year. Certainly had one of the biggest names tied to it, and this is including Tiana Taylor making her acting debut, or at least a big picture acting debut. Paul Thomas Anderson as the writer and director. Leonardo DiCaprio starring alongside Benicio del Toro, and a whole bunch of other people that are now probably exploding with fame because of this movie. And yes, of course, it won Best Picture. Among other awards, but Best Picture is obviously the most notable, and Paul Thomas Anderson was up on that stage receiving a handful of awards, a lot more than I think anyone really expected, despite how big the movie was and despite how renowned of a director he is. And towards the end of his speech, he said, "I'm going to have to drink a martini," and he certainly did that. He was drinking plenty of martinis alongside that golden Oscar of his. Or those several golden Oscars of his, I should say. And yeah, One Battle After Another was probably one of the biggest movies of the year. Not a shocking win for Best Picture, but nonetheless, it was very exciting to see that whole cast and members of the crew out there celebrating their victory.
Yeah, I'm over here thinking, why haven't I seen this movie again? Okay, I need to add that to my watch list.
Don't worry, I haven't seen a lot of the movies on the Best Picture list either, quite frankly.
Goodness. Well, I know you have to go, so we'll let you go. Thank you so much for joining our stream today to talk about the Oscars and just to give us a recap.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Yes. Guys, that was Anakin Shev there talking about the Oscars. What a fun night. Some big names there mentioned. So congratulations to all those who were nominated and who won. Let's move on to an event happening here. It happened earlier today. A piece of suffrage history rolled into Atlanta today with a modern message, guys. The Driving the Vote for Equality tour arrived with a restored 1914 Saxon Roadster. Now, this car is pretty cool. The same type of car used by suffragists during a 10,700-mile journey across the country. This campaign for women's voting rights in 1960. Now advocates are retracing that journey through 25 states to build support and collect some signatures for the Equal Rights Amendment. Fox 5's Chris Rosenthal spoke to some people about this, and he has more on their initiative.
Well, this yellow 1915 Saxon automobile has been here at the Capitol this morning, part of the Driving the Vote for Equality tour across the country. This car is symbolic because it's just like the one that was driven in 1916 by two suffragists across the country, from east to west and back to New York, to raise awareness for women's voting rights. Now, this is part of a bigger message here today, trying to get the Equal Rights Amendment passed as the 28th amendment to the U.S. Constitution. It was not ratified here in Georgia. It has been ratified in 38 states. And that is part of the effort here to get it ratified here, and also to get it signed off on by the archivist, the U.S. federal archivist, in order to make it become officially the 28th Amendment to the United States Constitution. I spoke with some of the organizers today just about why this is so important.
Well, in 1916, the suffrage amendment for women's voting was stalled, and today the Equal Rights Amendment is stalled. And we are working to collect petitions, 1 million petitions, for people who will urge Congress to pass a joint resolution to basically recognize the Equal Rights Amendment is already in the Constitution, regardless of any timeline.
What's your understanding of the stall?
It's a variety of things. First of all, it is up to Congress and the states to amend the Constitution. That was done in 2020. When Virginia ratified the Equal Rights Amendment. There is confusion, and as one of the members of Congress says, the ERA is kind of in a purgatory right now, and we're waiting for a congressional designation that the Equal Rights Amendment is already in the Constitution.
And therefore make it the 28th Amendment.
That's exactly right. So it would be a designation that the Equal Rights Amendment is the 28th Amendment to the Constitution.
Why is that important? What would it do?
Many things. One is it would create a higher standard, legal standard, so that more cases could be won under equal pay for equal work. Sexual assault, the kind of cases we're seeing with the Jeffrey Epstein case. It would mean a lot for women's reproductive health and a whole host of brand new issues like AI and artificial intelligence, new issues related to healthcare. We want to prevent discrimination as the AI develops.
You're taking this message across the country. How does Georgia fit into this?
25 states. I'll look to my partner here to talk about Georgia.
Georgia fits in because Georgia is not ratified. Georgia didn't ratify the 19th Amendment until 1970. So here we are 100 years, and yes, the time is now. And thankful to Representative Lisa Campbell, Senator Sally Harrell, that they have a joint resolution, HR 276, SR 202. We need it done for Georgia. There are 12 states that are still unratified. The time is now.
Will that ratification, you have the 38 states. Will the ratification, you think, help get it finalized?
It will do the further affirming, because of needing more states. Why not 50 states? Why not for females to not just be underprivileged and not have one right, which is the right to vote, but for everyone.
It is for everyone, and that means that we can now have what I call an arm, a leg, and a foot to legally stand on for that, for all that needs to happen, from the wage gap, as we know that is critical for families as well. And it is for everyone. So whatever anyone needs to go and stand against discrimination, we forget that those 24 words are about discrimination.
Now, House Representative Lisa Campbell and Sally Harrell with the state Senate are working on a joint resolution to get this Equal Rights Amendment ratified by the state of Georgia. As for this Saxon vehicle, it is just about to head off to Knoxville, Tennessee. Back to you.
All right, Chris, thank you for that report there. Still to come, guys, a recall for a food item that is at a popular store, Costco, and Atlanta's reputation with bed bugs. Yikes. It's not something I'd like to hear. Someone who just moved to the city. Those are just some of the stories that are trending, and we'll get into them when we return. Welcome back, guys. Let's get into what's trending. These are the stories that you're clicking on our website. Let's bring in our Joyce Lupiani. She has a look at those websites that you all are clicking on the most, or not websites, those links that you are clicking on the most. Joyce, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Jasmine. So yes, the first story I have for you today is about a scam that deputies are saying that people really need to watch out for. You probably heard about it. It's called the jury duty scam. And what happens is a victim gets a phone call from someone claiming to be like Officer Shepard. And the person that is calling tells their victim that they have missed jury duty and they need to pay like a lot of money or they're going to be arrested. So we hear about this stuff all the time. What's a little bit different this time is that they actually caught someone who is allegedly doing this. And we got a press release about it, and they gave us the name of the person. They gave us his mugshot. You can see his mugshot on the screen right there. So apparently this person tricked people out of about $1,300 before they were able to put him under arrest. Now, of course, I say allegedly because he has not gone to court yet, and this hasn't been proven. But, they're using this as an example of what can happen to people who fall for these scams and just telling everybody to be careful.
Oh my gosh, that's pretty scary. Can you get into more details on how he was tricking people and who was he targeting?
So they did not give us like information about the victims. They just said, like I said before, he was like calling people up and telling them, hey, you missed jury duty, so you're in trouble, so you need to send me, some money to pay off a fine or you're going to be placed under arrest. And the police were able to get like the phone number that he was using, and they were able to track that phone number, and then they went and picked him up. Other than that, they didn't tell us, like who the victims were. Unfortunately, sometimes or most of the time, it seems like it's like the older people who, they don't really understand that, you can't get arrested for this sort of thing. They tend to target older people a lot, but we don't know anything about the victims in this case.
Okay, thanks for giving us an update there. Let's talk about this salmonella linked to Costco meatloaf. It seems like you go to the grocery store, you have to double check, triple check everything before you buy it.
Yes, you do. And have you had the meatloaf from Costco?
No, I haven't. I'm not a huge beef person. I might have steak here and there, but I don't do beef meatloaf.
Well, their meatloaf is like really, really good.
Okay.
I've had it a couple of times. So I was definitely sad, to see this. But they are recalling their meatloaf with the mashed Yukon potatoes and the glazed meal kit for salmonella, like you said. And there's like 26 states and Washington, D.C. That are affected by this recall. And basically, it's like any of the kits that were sold between like March 5th and March 16th. Now, the good news is there have not been any reports of someone getting sick yet. So they're just like being like really proactive and trying to get these kits out of people's refrigerators before something does happen. And you can either like take it back to Costco and they'll give you a full refund, or you can just toss it in the garbage. But once again, like the sell by dates were like March 5th through the 16th. So just these past couple of weeks. So if you got one, went to Costco in the last couple of weeks here in Georgia, and you bought some meatloaf, you might want to get rid of it.
Yeah, guys, you heard Joyce there. Get rid of that meatloaf. Don't buy it if you shop at Costco because you don't want to get sick. One thing that's sickening, the bed bugs. What's going on with Atlanta and bed bugs? The state of Georgia. Ew.
Yeah, bed bugs. Ooh, yeah, bed bugs are definitely kind of disgusting. So there's a new report out that ranks Georgia number 6 for bed bugs. And okay, we hear about it all the time. It's a problem definitely in like popular travel spots where people go on vacation. And we know people come to Atlanta all the time for vacation. But, a lot of people are going to be traveling soon if they're not traveling already for spring break. And it does seem like it's really happening like here in the South. So not just Georgia, but Florida and like other surrounding states. So basically, these little bed bugs are like really good at like hitchhiking on like your luggage and your clothing. So like you could either come to Georgia or maybe go down to Florida or somewhere else and pick one up. And then the bed bug will come home with you. And before you know it, you are like completely infested, and they are like really, really hard to get rid of. So, it's just a good idea. Like if you're traveling, once you get home, like really wash all your clothes like really, really good, to make sure to kill these bed bugs. And, you can also like throw them in the dryer for like 30 to 45 minutes, and the heat will kill the bed bugs. So I would do both. Throw it in the dryer, wash them, throw it in the dryer again. Just make sure you don't bring any bed bugs home.
Yeah, that's pretty gross. They're just looking at the video that we just saw. Some people even say you should check your hotel beds, and or if you go on a cruise, check your beds for bed bugs. I know that we're not thinking about that when we're going on a cruise or going on a trip, but it might be beneficial to do that as well.
Absolutely. So glad you brought that up because I forgot that part. So yes, you should definitely check when you get to a hotel or Airbnb. Not to blame Airbnb, sorry, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Any place like that, just make sure that you check it so that's not a problem.
Yes, and you are right about that. They are hard to get rid of, guys. So definitely make sure that you're not bringing them with you to your home. But thanks, Joyce, for joining our stream today to talk about what's trending on fox5atlanta.com. Guys, up next, one of the biggest names in fitness has arrived in Midtown. So this story's for you if you like to work out, do some strength training like me. So Barry's is known for its workouts, blending cardio and strength training, and of course for its famous Red Room studios. It looks like a lot of fun. So Fox 5's Paul Milliken shows us what it looks like.
Well, hello, everybody. If it looks a little bit strange in here, don't adjust your screen right now. It's a red room, all right? And you know what that means. We're at Barry's Midtown Atlanta. The global iconic fitness brand is finally here in Midtown. And Hallie has been working me out this morning. Now, I want you to be very honest with our friends out there. Scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like beast mode. How am I doing today?
I would give you a solid 8.5.
Thank you. I paid her so much money to say that, and I'm so happy about it. How excited are you that Barry's has arrived in Midtown?
Incredibly excited. It's been months in the making, and it's awesome to have our clients in here, our team in here. We've been ready to go.
Yeah, so talk a little bit about what Barry's is. What do you think makes this brand unique or different in the fitness market?
Right. Well, obviously you have the atmosphere, the red lights, the music, all of the instructor that's hyping you up, making you feel great, but you have your friends next to you, you've got a mix of cardio, of strength, so it's really an all-inclusive experience, one-stop shop.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Barry's is known for, this high-intensity training that mixes both cardio and strength training. Why do you think that's important to incorporate both?
Right. Fitness is so holistic and there's so many elements, and I think people tend to think maybe one thing is better than the other, but here you get to see a lot of everything, and just overall improving strength, but also heart health and so many benefits.
Yeah, that cardio is so important. So again, you've got the Run Lift Studio, which is both, and then this is the Just Lift Studio. So this is dedicated to just the weights, right?
Correct, yes. So we get a little bit more time to slow things down, focus on some strength training principles, and it's not so go, go, go as the Run Lift Room is.
All right, well, as I think everyone knows, I have the physique of a fitness model. I lift weights. Tim, stop laughing behind the camera. It's true. So show me like what we might do in here with the weights.
Right, nothing crazy happening here. Maybe, well, today is arms and abs. Okay. So we might do some shoulder presses. Okay.
So we're going to grab our weights, and you've got everything from 8 all the way up to 50. Oh, we're going heavier? We're going heavier? You know, look, I was gonna grab the 60s, but I don't want to make anyone feel intimidated.
Right.
So what's a shoulder press?
Right. So we might set up a shoulder press on the bench or on the floor standing. Just bring the weights up overhead. Nothing crazy like that.
Yeah, and again, you can tailor this to people at where they are in their fitness journey. So if I walk in here never having picked up a weight in my life, I can still find something to do, right?
Absolutely. Body weight is always an option. If it's a leg day and you need to take it body weight or any modifications you need, that's what the instructor's for.
Okay, so I'm gonna sit down here. We're gonna trade. I'll give you the microphone. I'm gonna take the. Are you sure 20s is? This feels a little heavy.
This feels great. This feels great for you. Yes.
Just like up like that?
Yes. Okay. Breathe. You press up. You breathe out. Perfect. Make sure your core is engaged. Stunning. Form is perfect.
Is form good?
No notes. Okay, yes.
amazing.
Yes.
Like how many would I do in a row? Like
maybe 12. Okay. Maybe 10.
You made me nervous there.
I'm like 25 actually.
No, not gonna happen. All right.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yes, you got it. You got it.
Okay, the fitness journey has begun thanks to Hallie and Barry's. There are various membership packages and things available here, right?
Absolutely. You could come a few days a week. You could come every day.
Yeah.
Whatever your vibe is.
Yeah, depends on what you want. All right, well, great to see you. Thank you for getting me started. I need you to keep me accountable.
Absolutely. Come
you
in here.
please?
I'll hold you accountable.
Okay, perfect. And I'm going to keep doing shoulder presses, but what you guys don't know is that this microphone actually weighs 20 pounds. It's so I can just do it like this. And so it's perfect weightlifting because this thing is so heavy. It's work to carry this around every day. All right, back to you.
All right. Thanks, Paul. Guys, that's Paul Milliken there talking about that new brand, that fitness brand here in Atlanta. It's new to Atlanta. But that's pretty cool. If you're a fitness person, you like to go work out, maybe you should go check it out. Time is 1:46. Still to come, how inflation is impacting where you eat. Welcome back, guys. We're taking a live look at the Atlanta airport. You see people there waiting in line, getting ready to check in. We know that a combination of severe weather and critical staffing shortages has triggered this widespread disruption this morning at Hartsfield Jackson, leaving thousands of people facing massive delays and cancellations. FlightAware reported almost 800 delayed flights today and more than 300 cancellations around 1 p.m. And then we know the weather system, which has already prompted virtual learning days for some local students, is also impacting major hubs in other cities. Delta Airlines has issued a travel waiver for those impacted by this. But I did want to bring this up because I want to talk about the wait times. I have checked them for you if you are planning to fly and have that information. So guys, at the airport right now, the main checkpoint is the wait there is 38 minutes. So, it's going to take some time to get through there. The lower north checkpoint is actually closed, so you can't get through there. And then when you go south, they're only doing a pre-check only at the checkpoint. So that's moving pretty quickly, but again, that's only pre-check. And then the north checkpoint is about a 29-minute wait. And for international, the main checkpoint is a 20-minute wait. So guys, a little bit of a wait here again. Many people facing facing delayed flights and cancellations, and that was just reported around 1 p.m. So not even an hour ago. But be safe and check in with your flight. Check in with your airline to see when if your flight is impacted. And so we'll continue to follow this because we know many of you are impacted by the long wait lines here and the weather that has caused some of the issue as well. Let's go ahead and talk to a wealth expert about a little bit of mortgage rates and the rising costs in fast food. So where Americans choose to eat right now, many say it shows how they're feeling, or it says a lot about how they're feeling about their wallets. New trends show fast casual chains like Chipotle and Panera Bread are losing momentum, while traditional fast food and sit-down spots like Texas Roadhouse are gaining customers. So let's go ahead and bring in Justin Farmer. He is the CEO of Exit Wealth, and he's going to break all this down for us today. Justin, talk about the dining trends that you're seeing.
Hi, Jasmine. Good afternoon. It's really all about if a server is involved or not. And the squeeze is definitely in the middle. You mentioned those fast casual places such as a Chipotle, a Panera, where it's kind of nicer food and you go up to the counter, but in the end, you don't have a server. You're collecting your food and all of that. It's nicer than fast food, but it's stuck in the middle and they're getting crushed right now. Because here's what's going on. People are feeling like if they're going to spend $25 at a fast casual, maybe let's step it up to $40, and there's a server who's going to bring me my food, take my order, and take my dishes away. So it's the Mexican place around the corner or the Chinese place around the corner, or you mentioned a Texas Roadhouse or a Chili's or Applebee's. Again, there's a server involved and people are either stepping up to that or they're stepping down below fast casual and going straight down to fast food where it's just value. That is simply, can I get a meal for as cheap as possible? So there's a big war going on in fast food.
Okay, that is the battle there in fast food. So what can those restaurants who are losing the customers do in this situation?
Well, they're trying to do a lot of app-generated deals, and they're doing a lot of advertising and marketing. But there's a challenge, whether you're talking high-end, the mid-level, the fast casual, or just pure fast food. There's a real challenge in the industry right now. Their profitability margins are getting squeezed because food costs have been elevated. And I'll tell you something, what's interesting with this rising cost of fuel due to the conflict in the Middle East, that actually has a direct correlation to increasing food prices. It raises our prices as consumers because the restaurants are simply paying more to get those items delivered to them. So if you are delivering millions of pounds of potatoes a year, if you're a Chick-fil-A or a McDonald's for your French fries, it simply costs more money to get those potatoes to all of those thousands and thousands of restaurants. Those costs go up and the restaurants have a choice. Either they raise prices on you, on me, or they simply have less profit margin. And that is hard to sustain over the long term.
Yes, and of course they're going to raise those prices for consumers. Didn't think about the war impacting food prices, but can you tell us about the upper end? Is fine dining hurting as well? I'm a person who typically would rather go eat at a restaurant than go get fast food, even if it's to go. I still rather go grab my food to go from a fine dining restaurant or a place that you would actually go sit down and eat at. So is fine dining hurting?
Well, Jasmine, how you are feeling is emblematic of the trend, which is to say fine dining is doing pretty well. And what it means is this. Wallets are getting tighter. Remember when right after COVID and there was all that free money flowing in the system and interest rates, the Fed pushed those interest rates all the way down to zero or near zero for so long, and so many people were feeling fatter in the wallet. We simply, in general, as most Americans, had more disposable income. Well, this is a very different world now here in 2026. So it's not that people are choosing fine dining and fast casual and fast food. It's just that they're making a choice. And what they're choosing is, as you just said, if they are going to treat themselves to some food that someone else makes, they're going to eat out in some form or fashion. They seem to be eating out a little bit less, but when they do go a little more luxurious. Everybody's stepping up from the category they used to be in. Again, with the exception being it's the middle that's getting hurt. People are looking for value at the low end on pure fast food, or they're stepping up to nicer and nicer when they do want to treat themselves to a date night.
Justin, thanks for explaining that a little more. Let's talk about mortgage rates and what you're seeing there.
You know, mortgage rates, when they pushed up past 5.5% and 6%, the way we've been now for 26 months, we all thought by now they would start to slide back down, but they just haven't for several reasons. Most notably, and just recently, they did drop below 6% until the start of the conflict with Iran. So now that you've got all this problem with this constriction in the Strait of Hormuz and the oil prices have skyrocketed, where people used to go into the 10-year treasury for safety, instead it's now an inflation play. So I don't want to get too far in the weeds on this on finance, Jasmine, but here's the point, that when there are conflicts in situations such as this that is involving oil and energy supply, and so you have fuel prices around the globe going higher, there's an inflationary pressure. That pressure affects the 10-year treasury yield. As yields move higher, our mortgage rates move higher or certainly are not going to fall. My point here is this. If you are interested in your mortgage rates falling, you are going to be highly focused on the end of the conflict in the Middle East. Because when that ends and oil prices ostensibly fall dramatically, it gives way for mortgage rates to start sliding back lower as they were in January.
Justin, thank you so much for joining us today. Our time is winding down, but you've given us so much insight into the eating out trends and mortgage rates. So thank you for joining us.
You got it, Jasmine.
Have a great rest of your day. And guys, your time is 1:58. Don't go anywhere. Our 2 p.m. starts in just a few minutes.
Welcome in, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thanks so much for being here. We've got meteorologist Jonathan Stacy here with us. Jonathan, look, I see you pulling up a chair for me. Thanks. That, guys, it tells you the kind of day that we are in for because, Jonathan, Georgia weather today, it feels unpredictable, but obviously that's what you guys are in the business of. And you have been warning us about what's happening today.
And I will take the personal privilege here of saying this. This is the first time in my career that I have ever covered severe weather and snow on the same day in one area.
Incredible. Incredible.
I actually did not believe it would happen, but this is what's on our hands, folks. And we are getting confirmation of ground truth that there is snow falling in some areas and then pockets of pellets of sleet in other areas. So we'll take a live look out right now to our camera that is in Rome. And what you're going to see there, you got to look closely. We don't see any accumulation there, but what you see is a pretty steady burst of snow falling there. And that just started there in Rome. The camera lens pretty wet as well, but we'll look back, maybe before the hour is over, and I think those grassy surfaces will be covered at that time. Before we break into the weather that is on our plates, over the past hour, I have gotten reports of, and this is Trenton, Georgia. This is Dade County, the northwesternmost county in our viewing area. There's a college there, Covenant College, and Ariel, y'all aren't lucky to see this, but look at this. This looks like a winter wonderland.
Yes, in March, winter weather wonderland on a college campus
in the state
March.
of Georgia.
In
completely
March.
covered. We're talking
What
about
is
sidewalks,
happening?
the pavement.
Yeah.
Reports of rain, sleet, snow mixture in Mount Zion, that's in Carroll County. Reports of sleet coming in at the Georgia Power Plant in McDonough.
Goodness. Yeah.
And what the National Weather Service has decided to do for the metro area, listen up here. So this is for Carroll County, Cobb, DeKalb, Douglas, Forsyth, Gwinnett, Hall, Haralson, North Fulton, Paulding, and South Fulton. Fulton being one county, but they split it up sometimes. Here's the deal. You're now under a special weather statement, and that is basically one ante below a winter weather advisory. So if you have your winter storm warning, you have your winter weather advisory, and then you have a special statement. So a special statement is in place for the metro counties, and then for the counties that are just to the north of the metro here, as we turn to the weather computer, you are under that winter weather advisory. And in short order, we're going to be seeing this picture here. That's going to be in your backyards, folks. I was talking to Tyler Finger, one of our reporters. He's out of the airport covering the mess there.
Yeah.
And he said he heard pellets asleep. So,
and the airport is south of even where we are.
Exactly. So we had been thinking all of this would be to the north of I-20, with reports coming in from McDonough and the airport that tells you that this is going to be south of I-22.
Yeah.
And it's going to be an interesting drive home. Yeah, it's really coming down, and it just arrived. This just got to, and that's what we were seeing. This is what kind of basically shot to my system.
Yeah.
About 2 hours ago, I was looking at the radar in Huntsville, Alabama, which is just, about, 250 miles to our north and to our east to our west if we were driving. And the crazy thing is that a thin band rolled over, but a really robust band rolled over Metro Huntsville, and they ended up with a half-inch of snowfall.
It's incredible to think that is possible in March, especially in the South. Obviously, anything's possible, but to be able to see what is ongoing right here is just incredible. And I mean, you're looking at Rome, you're seeing the sun or the snow really coming down and the lack of sun. So what can we expect for the rest of today?
So Matt, let's see the weather computer real quick here, because we're going to kind of do some meteorology on the go here. So it's 36 degrees where you were just looking live at in Rome. So that's why you're not seeing that accumulation occur just yet.
Got it.
36 in Dalton, 39 in Canton. Let's see if I can even go a little bit deeper here across northwest Georgia and get a better sampling of the temperatures, because this tells us where we're going to have some, if you will, stickiness, or if that's possible. Okay, so 36 Somerville there. That's as you get over to Chattooga County, go up to Lafayette, and that's in Walker County, 35 degrees. So that leads the way with the coldest temperature. But look as far south as Haralson County, and that's Buchanan right there. So that's where, that corroborates the reports that we're getting of a rain, sleet, snow mix that's happening there as far south as I-20 with a 35-degree temperature. And these numbers are going to keep on falling. You come all the way into Cobb County and you have 39, 38, and 39 between Woodstock, Marietta, and Mableton. So let's go ahead and take a look at this really quick. I'm going to show you two things here, Ariel. So we discussed the special statement that is in effect for the metro area. Light accumulation, though, is expected if you're in the advisory area, and that's the area that's shaded in like a light purple. And that includes all counties to the north and to the west, especially from Paulding County to the south, Bartow, Cherokee, the southernmost counties there. Then the eastern extent of that includes White and Towns County, and of course all counties that border the states of Tennessee and North Carolina. All right, so if we put things in motion, this is how it could possibly pan out fairly quickly here. Okay, got it. Ooh, I'm moving a little too fast.
And while you're doing that, Jonathan, we have someone here on TikTok asking about Habersham County and Clarksville, Georgia.
They've left Habersham out. I can't even tell you why.
Okay.
Would I have included Habersham County? Possibly so. I know the reason why Rabun and Stevens County are not included is they are covered by a different weather service office. But if I can show you this here, let's go back, Ariel. Okay, that weather service office that is up in Morristown, Tennessee, they've issued some advisories, but they've just basically focused in on the spine of the Appalachian on either side of the North Carolina Tennessee state line. So I'm not sure what those offices' plans are, but Habersham County, you're definitely in play here. Let me go back to my my forecast here and show. Okay, so that's a pretty solid swath that could move through. I don't got a thing on it. Hold on, there you go. So we'll take it slow.
So, Jonathan, with our minute we have left together, what else do you think people should know about this system as it moves through today?
Yeah, I think we can leave our focus right here, is that you have the window of opportunity really between now and 5 p.m. to experience winter weather. Will it become inclement weather? Well, it depends on your location. There's a better opportunity the farther north you go, especially if you're in the higher elevations. And if your passage home takes you over bridges, over surfaces that easily become a bit treacherous, with the falling of temperatures. 34 in Canton at 4 o'clock, 35 Atlanta. That window of opportunity, like I say, lasts until about 5 o'clock. And then I think you could still see maybe a spot of snow or so. Whatever falls probably won't melt so quickly because temperatures area-wide will be down in the 30s. And then falling into the 20s as we wake up on a Tuesday.
Really quickly, you guys, we're going to get to our Ray here in just a little bit. Ray, and I see him standing by, so I want to move on. But very briefly on TikTok, we have questions about West Point, Georgia and Rockdale County. So real quick, Jonathan, anything else to note there?
I would say all counties in the metro are in play. Rockdale is not in the special weather statement. Now here's the deal. Snow is going to fall likely in some fashion across the metro area. Is it going to be inclement?
Right.
You're just going to have to just proceed with caution. Act like you're driving in the rain, or maybe just a bit slower because you just don't know what's going to happen. Also, too, you have the rubbernecking effect because people are seeing things.
Yes.
And oftentimes it may not be the roads themselves.
People aren't paying attention.
Yeah, the attention is diverted as to what's happening around them, trying to take photos and all that kind of stuff. You just want to be mindful as you're out and about. Are there school closures? I'm not for sure about that. Have you heard anything
yes,
about
there
that?
have been some schools that have gone to remote learning for today or worked through things differently. We actually have an article on our website, fox5atlanta.com and here in the Fox Local app if you want more information on those school districts. But we'll see how things last for the morning when we look ahead till tomorrow, but definitely more of the northern counties there to keep that in mind.
We'll definitely be looking, probably after school gets out. Today, they'll start examining things.
Calls.
I think the 3 o'clock hour is going to be really interesting, especially between 75 and 85.
Okay. Well, Jonathan, thank you so much. Appreciate it very much. And guys, really quickly, I want to get you an update as to what happened at Atlanta's airport because these storms we've seen has snarled flights. And it's not just the severe weather, it's critical staffing shortages as well. And you're taking a live look at Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. The line to get through security, it appears to be what you're staring at this moment. We saw at least 160 cancellations and 305 delays as of this morning. And security wait times have reached over 2 hours. Delta issued travel waivers to try to help people with flexible rebooking options. But we've seen this storm affect hubs in New York and Boston also. And we're going to be actually hearing from TSA's local union here in Atlanta, talking about how they are trying to address workers' conditions, given that they are missing their second pay cycle with this second partial government shutdown. So we're going to continue to keep you updated on this situation. But in the meantime, let's go out live to Stockbridge because I see our Ray standing by, and we know that people sleeping in a home in Stockbridge woke up when a tree fell and from their, it was a neighbor's yard that fell onto the roof as a result of this bad weather. So Ray, I understand they're sharing the damage that was left behind. Thanks so much for waiting for us. What are you seeing out there?
Well, Ariel, you can see that tree right behind me over my shoulder here. But thankfully, everybody who was sleeping inside this house yesterday night and into this morning are okay. They're not hurt, but they have one heck of a story to share. I'm going to step off to the side so you can see a little bit more of that tree just to show. So this is the house that we are at right now. And if I turn the camera over here to our right, you can see how far this tree goes all the way into the neighbor's yard. You can see where it splintered right there next to the neighbor's yard. But thankfully, like I said earlier today, everybody is expected to be okay and they're in pretty good spirits, all things considered. Now I want to show you a video that we got earlier today because Brandy Allen, who is the homeowner's daughter, says this happened at about 6 o'clock this morning when she was sleeping. She described hearing a loud boom and feeling the house shaking once the tree fell. The house shook so much, Allen says, it turned on a touch lamp near her bed. The force of the fall also damaged parts of the gutter system of the house and a fence and the air conditioner units. Allen says her neighbor gave her a tarp to help cover some of the damage to her mother's home. Here's how she described the moments after the tree fell this morning.
I couldn't really tell what was happening, and when I went in the sunroom, I was so tired I thought maybe a deer jumped through the window, but then I realized it was actually the tree branch that was through my window. Very grateful that we are okay and the house is still standing. It's only one window that was damaged and the roof, so it could have been worse.
Allen says that it will likely be a few days before the insurance company can send out an adjuster to her mother's home to estimate and inspect the damage that this tree has left behind. But for now, she is hoping that her mother will be able to stay home tonight. Ariel?
Ray, so glad it wasn't worse. Incredible to think and hear that the force was so great it turned on her touch lamp. That is something. I know when I heard this storm and it woke me up out of bed this morning, it just felt very forceful. And to see the temperature drop and everything else we're getting afterwards, really crazy to be experiencing this in March.
Absolutely. Right now it's sleeting. I'm not sure if you can actually
see
it through there, but it is actually sleeting here in Stockbridge, south of the airport. And it goes to show some of the crazy weather that you and Jonathan were just talking about over there. I actually tried to message you all to say, hey, it's still sleeting down here in Stockbridge. But because of the roof situation here, there is a couple leaks inside the house. So they're hoping that they're able to get those remedied, get those done real quick. But they haven't tested out the heating unit yet. So it just depends. But it looks like they may be able to stay in a hotel today if the heat is not working in the mom's house here, Ariel.
Okay, well, good. That's good to know. Ray, thanks so much for giving us an update on this family and also an update on the weather, considering we can see the sleet in your shot. I'm going to let you go get warm. Thanks so much for joining us, Ray. We appreciate it. As we continue, guys, I want to tell you it's not just here at home, but also effects that are being felt across the nation because of this winter storm. Specifically, we're seeing actually lots of power outages across the country, and we have days left until the start of spring. Now, meteorological spring actually started on the 1st of March, but winter isn't going out quietly. A massive system has unleashed a mix of blizzard conditions, thunderstorms, and tornadoes across dozens of states. In the Midwest, you can see plows are trying to make their way through feet of snow, while freezing rain and sleet are what's threatening to bring travel to a standstill in other parts of the country. We saw wind gusts nearing hurricane strength and unleashing whiteout conditions and knocking out power. And at one point Saturday, more than 1 million customers had no power. And those same winds also swept across the American plains, triggering extreme wildfire conditions. Right now in Nebraska, wildfires have scorched parts of central and west central parts of the state. So this is just a crazy situation that we're going to continue to watch. Real quickly on the weather, while we prepare to switch gears here, I want to let you know some of you here on TikTok are asking questions about your area. And some of you are asking, I see Snessie, you're asking if you think the weather we're experiencing is going to affect people getting home around 5 o'clock this afternoon from Lawrenceville. And I can tell you, according to what Jonathan was saying, it's possible. It's not likely that snow is going to stick given that we are so warm, but it could cause visibility to be a challenge as you're getting home, especially as it's darker. And also more than anything, the fact that people just aren't used to this. So they're going to be looking out their window. They might be paying attention to other things other than the road. So definitely something to keep an eye on, according to Jonathan. But let's switch gears here because we have some other big stories to get to that we're following here in our newsroom. And right now we know that there are still no charges in the case of a 12-year-old girl who died not long after a fight with her alleged bully. The family has hired legal help now in this case. So let's get out to Fox 5's Kevin Stewart for an update. Kevin, thanks so much for joining us live. What is the family doing right now?
Yeah, we're talking about 12-year-old Jada West. She was a student at Mason Creek Middle School in Villa Rica on the Douglas County side. She participated in that school system, Douglas County Schools. You'll recall that she died about a week ago after getting into a fight with someone that the family describes as a bully. They've gone to the school to try to handle it, and it happened, I guess it was like not this past Thursday, but the Thursday before last, where she got off the school bus. Students that she was beefing with on that school bus, and they say before she got on the school bus, got off at that stop near her home. It wasn't their school bus stop. They got into a fight. She collapsed. Eventually, she got up, but then collapsed again. Her mother ran out to catch her. She wasn't breathing. They took her to the hospital and she died. And what happened today is that the family has obtained a lawyer, several lawyers, including Ben Crump, a well-known civil rights and personal injury attorney, Gerald Griggs, and Harry Daniels. Those are two local attorneys. They had a news conference today to announce that they're not filing a suit right now. They don't have an intention to file a suit definitively at this point, but they are investigating what happened and trying to find out if there is any blame to put in this case. We have tried to get a hold of the autopsy from Douglas County coroner, but so far have not heard back. And the lawyers are also trying to obtain that to see if there's any causal effect. I want you to take a listen.
The video circulating, and you can see from Jada's position that she did not want to fight anybody. She was concerned about why this person bothered her. It's my understanding the person who she ultimately got into an altercation with was, 2 years older than her in a higher grade. But we're not here to necessarily talk about that incident. We were here to talk about how this incident hopefully should have been avoided and how moving forward incidents like this don't occur. I'll be the first to tell you, and I think the attorneys over to my left will also tell you that we don't know everything. We do know we got a 12-year-old that should be here today, and we want to find out why she's not here.
But I'm disheartened that we are here again. You know, about 12 years ago, we sounded the alarm that Georgia has a bullying problem. And my hope is that the General Assembly would change the law to provide for more accountability in these situations. Unfortunately, they have not. But now there's an opportunity to get accountability because, as Attorney Daniels has said, as all the attorneys have said, true justice would be Jada being with us and not us talking about Jada. But given that the General Assembly is currently in session, they can do something about this. No more parents have to fear putting their child on a school bus and your child not coming back home.
Yeah, just a terrible situation. It's worth noting that last week when we talked to the family, we did have that video and they asked us not to show that video. We have now received permission to use that video, so you did see that, so I want to make sure we're clear on that. Ariel?
Kevin, I appreciate the update. I want to ask, because we have some people here on our TikTok chat asking some questions about this story. And one of the big questions that people seem to have is, why aren't they filing a lawsuit just yet? What is the reasoning here, or the process?
They're just doing their due diligence. And, right now, of course, there's a criminal investigation going on right now, no charges. A source of mine has indicated that police and the district attorney's office did meet last week to discuss what they have. We'll see if there will be charges. But as far on the civil side, they just want to do the work. They don't want to just throw out and charge. The attorney was very careful today to say that they don't know if there's anything wrong that the Douglas County school system has done. They just want to put in, do the work right now. For instance, there's no autopsy. I imagine they didn't want to get into super specifics, but as we reported last week, there is school bus video of this incident. And I'm sure they're trying to obtain that. They said they're using open records requests from the Douglas County school system to try to dig into this. So we'll definitely keep folks up to date on that.
Kevin, thanks so much for your reporting on this story. Absolutely keeping that family in our thoughts. It's unbearable what they're having to go through, no matter what, losing a child in that way. It's awful. So thanks for your reporting, keeping us updated on everything that's unfolding. We appreciate it. As we continue here at 2 o'clock, I want to let you guys know that a second victim has died in a shooting in downtown Athens. And this was a triple shooting that happened in a parking lot in downtown Athens Saturday morning. Sources tell our reporter Larry Sproul that 19-year-old Dylan Bentley died a day after the shooting. He's the man to the right there in that photo. And then this is Clayton Adams. 22-year-old Clayton Adams died on the scene immediately after that shooting. And a third victim is fighting to stay alive. Gunfire erupted in this parking lot near North Jackson Street just before 2:20 a.m. Saturday. Police have arrested 22-year-old Mark D'Souza. He's facing charges of malice murder, aggravated assault, and aggravated battery. And Adams' family tells us that one of the victims had been friends with D'Souza. And as you can imagine, Adams' family is just devastated at his loss. Police have not shared a motive for the shooting or the circumstances that led up to the gunfire. We're going to keep you updated as we learn anything and as funeral arrangements proceed for these two men. I also want to let you know that we're getting new information in a stabbing death of a 4-year-old child. We've learned that a man has been arrested and charged in connection with this child's death, and family is confirming to us that the man charged is that child's father. Here's what we know. This was a domestic dispute at a Southwest Atlanta apartment, and investigators say that the department's homicide unit established probable cause and were able to obtain arrest warrants for 34-year-old Rashad Dixon. Now, he's facing multiple charges, including murder, aggravated assault, aggravated battery, cruelty to children, among multiple other charges. But the child died after officers responded to a reported fight in progress late Saturday night at an apartment. This was in the 1930 block of Allison Court Southwest. And Lieutenant Christopher Butler of Atlanta Police says that officers arrived around 11:30 in the evening and spoke with a woman who reported a fight happening inside that apartment. Because the door was locked, officers forced their way in through a window. Once they were inside, police say officers saw a man holding a hurt child. They used de-escalation tactics to get that child away from the man, but ultimately the child appeared to have severe injuries injuries, and medics, though they rushed that girl to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Hughes Spalding Hospital, she later died from her injuries. Police say the man who'd been holding the child was taken into custody at the scene before being taken to the hospital for treatment as well. Apparently, he also suffered lacerations to his body. So we'll continue to keep you updated as we get any new information. But family is confirming to us that the man charged in this case is that child's father. So we'll keep you updated. As we continue on here at 2 o'clock, I want to continue with some other news of the day. We're going to go out live to our state capitol. Today marks 5 years since the spa shootings unfolded here in Metro Atlanta. And our Deidre Dukes has the latest from some state lawmakers and advocacy groups on how they're honoring the victims 5 years later. That's straight ahead. Welcome in, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thanks so much for being here live with us on your Monday afternoon. We know we're getting a bit of a wild card as it relates to Atlanta's weather today, so we're going to continue to keep you updated on that. It is cold outside. Curious to see what you're experiencing in parts of the metro area. Let us know here in our chat on TikTok, YouTube. Let us know what you're seeing, and we'll talk about it. In the meantime, let's go out live to our Deidre Dukes, because Deidre, I understand that members of Georgia lawmakers are actually paying tribute to those lost in the spa shootings 5 years ago. And Deidre, what was the goal of today's message?
It was an opportunity to honor those who were lost in a tragic series of shootings, both in Cherokee County and here in Atlanta, a total of attacks at 3 separate spas. It was an opportunity to honor those who were killed, 8 people in all, 6 of them Asian women, and also an opportunity for the lawmakers and members of the AAPI community to call for stricter gun laws, for gun safety laws, things like gun storage, things of that nature, in an effort to help prevent future tragedies. Now, the individual who was convicted in one of those shootings, his name is Robert Aaron Long. He is currently serving multiple life sentences in connection with the Cherokee shooting, that one spa there. But he also still faces charges, a potential death penalty for the remaining charges in Fulton County. Again, we had 2 shootings at 2 spas here in Northeast Atlanta 5 years ago today. So we talked to those who came here to pay their respects about that and what they'd like to see moving forward and what's been accomplished over the 5 years since those tragic deaths. And here's what they had to say.
And that's a very nonpartisan issue. Make society safer for our kids, make society safer for our communities, and do common sense gun safety, even providing more storage boxes and requiring that. Because the majority of gun fatalities are kids finding weapons. And that doesn't have to be, because that's something we can easily manage as a state with a lot of resources. And I think they've been wanting to see more gun reform, because the shooter decided on the same day he committed all these murders to do it. Had we had something that slowed that down and had a 3-day wait, Jamie would have a mom, and Robert would have his mom, and the 2 young, Korean kids, Randy, would also have their moms.
And Cam Ashling there speaking to us, talking about the young people, the children who lost their mothers that day, saying that she has done her best, as have so many others who are on hand, to try to fill that void as best they can and be there for those victims' families who lost their loved ones on that terrible day. At the same time, they do believe that had there been stricter laws in place in regards to gun storage, or just the way someone can get their hands on a weapon, if there had been more restrictions as to that, perhaps those who were killed that day might still be alive, as far as they see it. And so they did, during their time here at the state capitol, call for continued action and reform for advocacy when it comes to gun restriction and gun laws. Ariel.
Deidre, good to know, understanding what they were calling for today, and also, of course, honoring the victims 5 years later. It is really hard to believe it has been 5 years since this tragedy. I'm curious, does the Georgia legislature have any kind of bills dealing with gun reform issues on its docket upcoming, or is that not an issue that they have to discuss just yet? Curious if any bills or legislation's been proposed.
Yeah, and we do see that every year, Ariel. Sometimes the bills carry over from the previous year. We did see some talk early in the session, once again, about gun storage bills, things of that nature, certain efforts to restrict people's ability to purchase weapons, or to limit or set in place a number of days that they have to wait, to change those laws to make it harder and make more of a wait time, I guess, if someone perhaps has some sort of a mental issue or something of that nature, where maybe if between the time where they initially thought to go purchase a weapon, if maybe there was a little more time in between their ability to actually do so, that might be able, that might prevent something like this happening. So to answer your question, yes, every session we see these bills, but depending on who presents the bills, frankly, sometimes there is more of a challenge to get them across the finish line, and that's what we see a lot of times here.
Deidre, thanks for keeping us updated. No doubt you'll keep us in the loop as any new bit legislation is proposed by lawmakers. Thanks for bringing us to the state capitol today and showing us what was unfolding. We appreciate it. As we continue here at 2 o'clock, I want to let you guys know that a union representing TSA workers right here in Metro Atlanta held a news conference at Atlanta's airport to discuss the effects of the ongoing partial government shutdown. As you know, Transportation Security Administration is one of the agencies under the Department of Homeland Security's umbrella that is not currently being funded, and TSA agents have missed their second pay cycle. Many are calling out sick, forced to find other jobs to make ends meet since they aren't getting paid. And this is leading to a lot of long lines and frustrations at airports, not just here in Atlanta, but around the country. So let's listen in to what union president had to say this morning.
Good afternoon. My name is Aaron Barker. I serve as the president of AFGE Local 554, representing the TSA workers across the state of Georgia. Today marks day 31 where this government shutdown of this year, which is the third shutdown of this fiscal year. TSA officers have now officially missed their second paycheck. There has been some confusion about this being their first full paycheck miss. The paycheck that was scheduled to be, that went out to officers between February 27th and March 2nd was not a full paycheck. It was little to nothing. All of the deductions for the pay period came out, and officers received paychecks as little as $1, less than 10% of what they received. Hardly a full or partial paycheck under any necessary reasonable standard. Unlike other federal agencies such as ICE and CBP, TSA employees are working without pay. Many are coping with eviction notices, vehicle repossessions, empty refrigerators, and overdrawn bank accounts. Every available financial option has been exhausted. Yet, these officers are still coming to work to protect the traveling public.
You're listening in to Aaron Barker, union president, speak about what some Transportation Security Administration workers are experiencing with the partial government shutdown and how many paychecks specifically they've missed. We're going to continue to keep you updated on this because Tyler Fingert's going to join us live at 3 o'clock to talk a little bit more about what is underway. As of right now, there is no end in sight to fund the Department of Homeland Security in full. Lawmakers have not worked out an agreement, and at this time, CEOs of a major airlines here in America are now signing open letters to Congress calling on them to reach a deal to help thwart some of these headaches and get things back to normal. So we're going to keep you updated there. But as we continue, how would you like another hospital here in Fulton County? County commissioners are voting on just whether to do that. And we're going to chat with our Angelique Proctor about what this could mean for our healthcare coming up next. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstad. Thanks so much for being here. We've got you guys in the chat talking about your weather conditions. And someone was just talking about how it is snowing in Kennesaw. Absolutely crazy to be experiencing in March, but especially if you are in the northwestern corner of Georgia, you're going to be experiencing this winter weather in full force today. We got Jonathan Stacy joining us live again here at 3 o'clock to talk about what we're going to experience and what to expect for the remainder of the day. But in the meantime, let's continue with something unfolding here in Fulton County. The Fulton County Board of Commissioners is going to vote on whether or not we should add a new hospital here to our county. Our Angelique Proctor's been following the latest on this story, and she joins us live. Angelique, great to see you. And I understand with the loss of Wellstar, it's probably a really a subject that we'd love to see explored further, as we know we need healthcare here in Fulton County and healthcare facilities.
Good afternoon to you. That is so true. It's a dire situation, particularly on the south side of Fulton County. But as you were just mentioning weather, I wanted to join in and say it is officially sleeting in downtown Atlanta. Lots of people talking about that and how the temperature is dropping. But our subject right now is the new hospital that is being proposed here in Fulton County. And I say proposed because it still has to be voted on, and that very crucial and critical vote will come this week on Wednesday here in Fulton County. But of course, when Atlanta Medical Center closed its doors, and we should have some video of the hospital, that was just devastating news for many in the city, particularly those who are on the south side. And then the Wellstar closed the facility in East Point, and so it was just a dearth of health care on the south side. Well, Fulton County Chairman Bob Pitts says he has been working on this for more than 3 years, and that this plan is finally coming to fruition, and he says he is pretty excited about it. Now, he says that this vote will come on Wednesday, and that this plan that he's been working on is really a comprehensive plan that addresses several different areas. Let's take a listen.
I knew that there was a health care desert in South Fulton County. So what we did was we commissioned a study with Ernst & Young, and that study confirmed what we already knew, that there was a need for first-class medical care in South Fulton County. So the closure by Wellstar really accelerated my efforts. And the plan has been and is, it's been my vision, which I've been working on for about 3 years now. First phase of that vision is the freestanding medical clinic in South Fulton County. That is almost complete. It will open this year. That will be a freestanding emergency clinic operated by Grady Hospital. The county is in partnership with Grady. Phase 2 of my vision is a freestanding office building, medical office building that will house specialties, urology, cardiology, you name it. But also in that building will be women's health issues that will be addressed. And the big daddy of them all, phase 3, will be a brand new acute hospital in South Fulton County. It's what the people have dreamed about, what they've wanted for years, and what they have deserved.
And that new hospital will have a very huge price tag on it, $900 million. And it's really going to take a long time to build, the chairman telling me some 5 to 6 years, but he is confident the county will get it done. Now, he says that there will actually be 3 different parts to this. Grady Healthcare will take care of one part, Fulton County will take care of the other, and then finally it will be the foundation, which is going to be a lot of private donors. So they're dividing it up. $300 million apiece is the hope here. But we've got 2 hurdles. Not only must this pass the Fulton County Commission on Wednesday, it's going to be voted on by the Grady Hospital Board on Tuesday.
The hospital is probably going to take, 5-6 years, but it's coming, because we're building a brand new hospital from scratch. But that's what the people have wanted, and at last, they're going to get it.
So $900 million is a big number. How do we pay for that?
Well, there's three players. The county will pay a third, the Grady Hospital will pay a third, and the Fulton DeKalb Hospital Authority, through private donations, will pay a third. Our tab will be $300 million, and we will issue bonds for our portion. So we're excited about it. It'll be before the board on Wednesday at our meeting, and I'm optimistic that the board will approve it.
And so, of course, anything in Fulton County takes 4 votes. I asked the chairman if he had his 4 votes. He says he doesn't count votes, but he certainly would expect that everyone would be in favor of bringing this much-needed health care into South Fulton County. So we will certainly be monitoring these votes and let you know what happens.
Angelique, thanks so much for keeping us updated. This would be life-changing for so many people in the southern part of Fulton County. I love how he laid it out, and he was like the big baddie of it all, getting this new hospital facility there would be incredible. So In case I missed it, I just want to clarify a point. Would Grady be the operator of a hospital like this?
Yes, Grady is definitely going to be operating this hospital. They're funding it and operating it when it comes, 5 to 6 years from now, if it's voted on Wednesday. So we don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but it sounds like great news.
Angelique, really appreciate the reporting. I know a lot of people will be looking forward to this vote on Wednesday to see what comes of it. I do see some people here in our TikTok chat seeming favorable to the idea, as I no doubt imagine it would affect them and their families. So Angelique, thanks so much for keeping us updated. Hope you stay warm and dry. We're going to continue on here at 2 o'clock and let you get back to it. As we continue, you guys, let's move here nationally, because I want to let you know what's happening the latest with the war with Iran. And as of today, we know that the fighting in the Middle East continues to intensify. The United States is also struggling to rally some support among its allies, and we're going to talk about why. In the meantime, America's top intelligence chiefs are going to head to Capitol Hill this week to warn about threats to the homeland. This comes as the Department of Homeland Security is not fully funded, and we've seen some recent attacks here on U.S. soil. So let's get into it. Israel and the United States continue to make devastating hits on Iranian targets. Operation Epic Fury has entered its third week, and the United Nations is reporting more than 3 million people in Iran have been displaced since this fighting began. One thing to keep in mind is that though Iran might be down, it's not out. They still have enough drones to launch attacks across the Middle East, including one on Dubai's airport, including blocking nearly all traffic through the Strait of Hormuz. President Trump is asking allies in China to help reopen this critical waterway where 20% of the world's oil supply normally passes through. Those allies, like those in Europe, are still weighing how to respond to President Trump's requests. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer says that they're going to take the necessary action to defend themselves and their allies, but they don't want to be drawn into a wider war. Back here at home, 3 incidents in a week, one outside the New York mayor's mansion, another inside of a Michigan synagogue, and a third at a Virginia college are all being investigated as potential terror attacks inspired by the war with Iran. The Department of Homeland Security also, like I mentioned, in a second month of a shutdown. So House members tomorrow are going to grill the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, as well as heads of the CIA and FBI over threats to the homeland and U.S. interests abroad. We've seen varying reports that FBI Director Kash Patel actually killed certain parts of the FBI's critical divisions that would look at and investigate terror threats here on American soil. So no doubt that's going to be part of the focus for lawmakers as they question Patel tomorrow. So we're going to continue to keep you updated on that. But I also want to let you know that President Trump may be delaying his trip to China later this month. We know that that was going to be a critical conversation between President Trump and Chinese leader Xi Jinping amid tariffs and other trade concerns. But the president's now suggesting that he might delay that trip because of various issues ongoing in the Middle East. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says it's not to be related to disagreements with Beijing on the Iran war or to put pressure on China to assist in keeping the Strait of Hormuz open. Rather, he says that this is going to be another focus as it relates to trade. And this would mark, if the president revisits Beijing, it would be his first trip back to China since 2017. China has warned that Trump's new tariff moves could jeopardize the United States and China's trade relationship. Bessent, our Treasury Secretary, who led a delegation of high-level talks with China in Paris, spoke briefly to reporters about the president's scheduled visit to China. Take a listen.
Well, let's split that up. First of all, I want to absolutely bifurcate if the president's visit, and I'm saying if the president's visit is postponed, it would have nothing to do with the Chinese making a commitment to the Straits of Hormuz. It would obviously be in their interest to do so, but a postponement would not be as a result of any ask from the president not being met. The postponement, if it happens, would be because the Commander-in-Chief of the United States military believes that he should stay in the United States while this war is being prosecuted. What I would say about our talks here, they were constructive. and they show the stability in the relationship. It is a continuation of Kuala Lumpur, the Busan agreement that was reached with our leaders to continue our work streams. I'll let Ambassador Greer walk through what we discussed.
So what we've concluded today really is the general terms of a work plan between now and the meeting between the presidents, with the idea that there'll be potential deliverables at that meeting. We of course discussed compliance with the Busan agreement. This means rare earths, etc. From time to time we will get information from U.S. companies or stakeholders about the status of receiving rare earths, and so we covered issues like that.
Would you say now that basically as long as the war continues, that the Commander-in-Chief can't leave the country, can't go to China?
No, that's not what I said. I said if it is postponed. I said I was making it very clear that if it is postponed, the reason it would be postponed would not be because the president insisted on the Chinese taking an active role in the Strait of.
So you were listening in as he was clarifying why the president may or may not postpone his trip to China. We'll keep you updated if that happens, and as we continue to keep you updated on the larger global picture with the war in Iran. Coming up, we're going to go a little closer to home, and you're going to get a look at something really cool, a vintage roadster, and why it's coming to the state capitol. That's straight ahead. Welcome back, everyone. A 1914 time machine is pulling up to our Capitol with a message. Chris Rosenthal shows us why.
Well, this yellow 1915 Saxon automobile has been here at the Capitol this morning, part of the Driving the Vote for Equality tour across the country. This car is symbolic because it's just like the one that was driven in 1916 by two suffragists across the country, from east to west and back to New York, to raise awareness for women's voting rights. Now, this is part of a bigger message here today, trying to get the Equal Rights Amendment passed as the 28th amendment to the U.S. Constitution. It was not ratified here in Georgia. It has been ratified in 38 states. And that is part of the effort here to get it ratified here, and also to get it signed off on by the archivist, the U.S. federal archivist, in order to make it become officially the 28th Amendment to the United States Constitution. I spoke with some of the organizers today just about why this is so important.
Well, in 1916, the suffrage amendment for women's voting was stalled, and today the Equal Rights Amendment is stalled. And we are working to collect petitions, 1 million petitions, for people who will urge Congress to pass a joint resolution to basically recognize the Equal Rights Amendment is already in the Constitution, regardless of any timeline.
What's your understanding of the stall?
It's a variety of things. First of all, it is up to Congress and the states to amend the Constitution. That was done in 2020 when Virginia ratified the Equal Rights Amendment. There is confusion, and as one of the members of Congress says, the ERA is kind of in a purgatory right now. And we're waiting for a congressional designation that the Equal Rights Amendment is already in the Constitution.
And therefore make it the 28th Amendment.
That's exactly right. So it would be a designation that the Equal Rights Amendment is the 28th Amendment to the Constitution.
Why is that important? What would it do?
Many things. One is it would create a higher standard, legal standard, so that more cases could be won under equal pay for equal work. Sexual assault, the kind of cases we're seeing with the Jeffrey Epstein case, it would mean a lot for women's reproductive health and a whole host of brand new issues like AI and artificial intelligence, new issues related to healthcare. We want to prevent discrimination as the AI develops.
You're taking this message across the country. How does Georgia fit into this?
25 states. I'll look to my partner here to talk about Georgia.
Georgia fits in because Georgia is not ratified. Georgia didn't ratify the 19th Amendment until 1970. So here we are 100 years, and yes, the time is now. And thankful to Representative Lisa Campbell, Senator Sally Harrell, that they have a joint resolution, HR 276, SR 202. We need it done for Georgia. There are 12 states that are still unratified. The time is now.
Will that ratification, you have the 38 states. Will the ratification, you think, help get it finalized?
It will do the further affirming, because of needing more states. Why not 50 states? Why not for females to not just be underprivileged and not have one right, which is the right to vote, but for everyone. It is for everyone, and that means that we can now have what I call an arm, a leg, and a foot to legally stand on.
Now, House Representative Lisa Campbell and Sally Harrell with the state Senate are working on a joint resolution to get this Equal Rights Amendment ratified by the state of Georgia. As for this Saxon vehicle, it is just about to head off to Knoxville, Tennessee. Back to you.
Chris, thanks so much for introducing us to the Roadster and its message. It seems like a great time to learn a little bit more about these issues. So as we continue here, we've got more to come at 3, more news, more weather. We're going to be talking about whether or not it's snowing near you, what you're seeing. Tom Haines about to step onto the desk. I'm Ariel Onstad. Thanks so much for being here. More to come.
lots to take. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us here for the 3 p.m. streaming hour on Fox Local. Tom Haynes, joined by meteorologist Jonathan Stacey, who's been busy really all morning. Jonathan tracking not only the storms that rolled through here overnight, keeping a lot of us awake, but then this threat of kind of wintry weather across the air. I thought we were done with snow.
Nope. Nope, we're not done. According to the calendar, we are in the final week of winter, and winter has decided to blow one last gasp at us. So we're getting in on that now. I will say things have transitioned to a more drier pattern, since I was on at the top of the 2 o'clock hour. So let's make sense of all this, folks. You had a cold front come through the area, and out ahead of the front, basically you had just a crazy line of robust thunderstorms that spawn not only tornadoes in some cases. We haven't got confirmed tornado reports here in North Georgia just yet, but also damaging wind gusts and pockets of hail. What is so interesting, Tom, is that folks were hitting me up saying, is it hailing?
Hailing, I like that.
Within the past couple of hours. And
Yeah.
I'm like, no, that is actually sleet. It's sleeting. So ice pellets of 2 different forms have fallen in our area within a 12-hour span, driven by 2 completely different atmospheric dynamics, but all a part of one storm. So where do things stand in the here and now? So you're under a winter weather advisory if you are in, we'll go through the counties really quickly here.
Okay.
Dade, Catoosa, Chattooga, along with Walker, Polk County, Floyd County, along with Gordon, Pickens, Bartow, Cherokee, Gilmer County, along with Fannin County, and Lumpkin, Dawson, White, and Towns County. Did I say Murray Whitfield? Well, add you into the bunch as well. I called you out for a reason, because you have the opportunity to not just get winter precip into here and now. There's another wave coming, and I think you'll have a better opportunity, especially as the temperatures across the area can continue to drop. That said, your window of opportunity for having inclement weather in terms of light accumulation, especially on grassy surfaces and on bridges and overpasses, is about from 11 to 11. So we can cross about 4 hours off of that, and then we got about, at this point, about 6 more hours to go. So everybody everywhere in terms of Georgia is under a freeze warning. Our growing season has already begun. Many people telling me that they've already pillowed in their gardens, put out some plants. Hold your horses. I hope you did. But if you did not, keep in mind that you need to cover your vegetation or find something warm to put around them tonight, because temperatures area-wide are dropping into the 20s. So let's go ahead and run the clock. Let's go. Come on, computer, wake up. Okay, so you see what we're getting at. It's not too much. I think our snow opportunity is kind of waning. But look at these temperatures by morning, Tom.
Gosh. Well, as you said, winter's last gasp. The thing is that Saturday kind of lured us outside. You know, I went to Pikes.
You could have locked me
I went
outside.
to Pikes over the weekend, started getting all the plants, and I know you guys were telling me not to, but I couldn't help it.
I told you not to.
And it was crowded in there. I mean, there
I
were
know.
people buying up plants.
When I passed by them, I'm like, what is happening?
But here's the thing, and I got them all out
My
situated.
rule of thumb is always Mother's Day, but I
Okay.
know that's too late.
That's
for
kind of
most
late.
people. Yeah.
Because then all the good stuff is gone. But
Yeah.
But so what I did was I brought a lot of them, actually all of them, back in anticipation of the sub-freezing temperatures, which, I mean, we're talking about sort of lasting through midweek, and then things kind of thaw out as we get to the
It
end
is
of the week.
sustained. So last week we were able to shake the cold off in a day. Not so much this round. Tomorrow morning is below freezing, 27 degrees. Wednesday morning, below freezing. There will be some communities on Thursday morning that are below freezing, but inside the perimeter will be at 37 degrees. So we'll be just, a couple degrees above that. Temperatures during the day making it into the 40s tomorrow, 50s by Wednesday. So there are some appreciable climbs in the numbers day over day. But while we're in it, tomorrow, and it's going to be rough.
But people love talking about, we're going to get snow, and it's going to. And then they're thinking about the drive home tonight. We got a couple hours left for most people headed home from work.
Yeah.
Everything's kind of safe out there, roadways.
Yeah,
and
I'll check, do a road conditions check really quick before we
Seen a lot of
say
blues
so
and purples
long
out
and
there.
farewell. This is the good thing about the roads. put on my magic road map. So look at the legend up there, and as long as you see bright green, that means that you're in good shape.
Okay.
I would be careful on bridges and overpasses, especially across northwest Georgia into north central Georgia. But here in the metro area, where temperatures basically have dropped significantly, they have not fallen below freezing, and that has been the main reason why we've gotten the accumulation, but it hasn't stuck. So just doing a check in the northwestern corner. So Walker County, 33 degrees. That's the coolest number I can find there, Tom. Do you see anything?
Lafayette up at 33.
Yeah.
So, but from what I saw, your 7-day looked like, you know, we're kind of, the precip part of this is behind us.
Oh yeah, we're done.
Okay.
After this wave moves through today. We're done with any rain, wet, wintry weather. We're done for the week.
Let's just kind of bundle up for the rest of
weekend's
the
going to
week.
be amazing, so something to look forward to.
All right,
Yeah.
Jonathan, thanks so
Peace.
much. Not just here at home, thousands of people across the country dealing with this winter weather, power being knocked out across much of the affected areas. And we're talking about just a few days left until the start of spring. Winter definitely not going out quietly here. A massive system, kind of the same one that we're feeling the effects of down here, unleashing a mix of blizzard-like conditions, thunderstorms, and tornadoes across dozens of states. In the Midwest, plows trying to make their way through feet of snow while freezing rain and sleet threaten to bring travel to a standstill in certain areas. Wind gusts nearing hurricane strength. The winds were pretty serious here too. Things getting knocked around in the backyard. At one point over the weekend, more than 1 million customers were without power in certain parts of the country. Those sim winds also sweeping into the plains, triggering wildfire conditions, which you saw video of just a couple of seconds ago. Talking about Nebraska, wildfires scorching central and western parts of that state. So if you have friends or loved ones out there, just be in touch with them to figure out what the situation is like. This is absolutely having an effect on air travel across the country, and this partial government shutdown not helping matters much. Local TSA workers just missing their first full paycheck, and union leaders aren't happy. They're saying that the timing couldn't be worse. I saw a social media post of Austin Airport out in Texas where the line stretched out onto the sidewalk. Let's get out to our Tyler Finger live at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport with the message that these workers have for Congress, Tyler, as they try to figure out this partial government shutdown.
Is let's get the government back open, because they are just having to struggle without being paid, and that's obviously a concern for them. All of these TSA officers showing up and are not getting paid currently. They'll get the back pay eventually, but right now they're struggling with not having the pay, and really it has been a frustrating day here at the world's busiest airport. Things are a lot better than they were earlier. If you take a look at the main TSA checkpoint, the wait now just a matter of minutes. Way different than what it was earlier today, where we saw at one point more than 2.5 hours to get through security, and that was right at the beginning of the day in the morning, sometime between about 5 a.m. and 8 to 9 a.m. We saw long waits, and even when we were here live on Fox 5 News at noon, we were looking at waits of about 45 minutes. It was obviously a problem, but now, as you can see, things are a lot better right now. The combination of storms moving through the region and TSA staffing shortages caused the major problems this morning. There was a ground stop in place for several hours because of the weather. That has since expired, but the lingering problems continue. According to FlightAware.com, there have been more than 900 delays here today and roughly 340 cancellations. Most of the issues are affecting Atlanta-based Delta Airlines. The airplane tracking website says 15% of Delta's flights have been canceled and 37% are delayed today here at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. Inside the terminal, as I mentioned, security lines have been a major problem. Part of the slowdown is being blamed on TSA staffing shortages. The union representing TSA officers says many employees are currently working without paychecks because of federal funding issues, and he said they have now missed 2 paychecks, so that's obviously a concern. People are having trouble paying their rent, mortgages, possible vehicle repossessions, and this is now the second time in just 6 months that these TSA officers are having to work without pay because of a government shutdown. So obviously they want to see this fixed so that these officers who are still coming to work are able to live their life and be able to pay for what they need to. And so obviously they're really concerned about what is going on. They say Congress needs to come together. They're not blaming one side or the other. They just simply say lawmakers need to come together to be able to reach a deal so that these TSA officers can be paid for the work they're doing. And obviously, because some are not getting paid, some people are not showing up for work. They're calling out. One of the 4 main checkpoints here in the domestic terminal is shut down today. If you're familiar, the Lower North checkpoint is closed. So that is one of 4 checkpoints not operational because they don't have the staff to be able to have the number of people they need, which also contributed to just the number of the wait times we were seeing earlier today. Take a listen to what they said during a news conference this afternoon.
To be quite frank, officers are pissed off. And we're not just talking about here in Atlanta, we're talking about nationwide. The officers are pissed off. They want this to end. They're ready to get back to their some normalcy or some consistency within their lives. It's very different this time because of the close proximity to the previous shutdown, the 34-day shutdown. So the resources and things that were available, they're just not there anymore. So while they were starting to dig themselves out of a hole, they can't do that anymore. Everything has stopped. So it's definitely different. It's frustrating. The uncertainty, it's time to do something to get everyone paid.
Yeah, their message really that these are people's lives that are being messed with because of lawmakers in Washington not able to reach a deal. Obviously, if you've been watching Fox Local, Fox 5 Atlanta, both sides, Democrats and Republicans, are just pointing the finger at each other here. The TSA union essentially saying that they just need to work together to reach a deal so that the TSA officers here at Hartsfield-Jackson, Atlanta International Airport, and airports throughout the country can get the pay that they deserve. I mean, he said 31 days so far they have been dealing with this partial government shutdown. I should mention that while the TSA lines have improved here today, you just never know what you're going to get. Obviously, you can check the wait times at atl.com and just click on the wait time estimator they have there. They're also telling folks who are traveling right now because of the shutdown, and obviously we know that getting close to spring break and summer, they're telling people to get here at least 3 hours early. I'll tell you, one person we spoke with said that they got here like 5.5 hours early just to be safe. You just never know what you're going to find, but obviously early in the morning you can see longer lines as people start the day here, and we obviously know the afternoon rush starts sometime between 3 to 4 and goes until about 7, so there's a chance that these lines get worse once again, but we'll just have to wait and see, Tom. But obviously these TSA officers, the union, they're just really hoping that the lawmakers in Washington that we all elect can come together to reach a deal to reopen the government, the partial government shutdown, so it can end.
Yeah, the last shutdown affected the air traffic controllers. This time it's the TSA in the crosshairs. And I guess on your last point there, that's what travelers are really wondering, who are trying to game out this whole thing, is what time do I get to the airport? How much time should I give myself? And from what I can see behind you, this is really an ebb and flow type situation where I feel like, in the lead in to you, I was talking about the social media post from Austin out in Texas, the airport out there. That usually happens first thing in the morning when things really start to get going, and then it kind of cools down as the day goes on. Do you see any sort of patterns there, Tyler, where it's at times more crowded than others?
So obviously Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport is the world's busiest in terms of passenger traffic every single year. So you have to think about that. Delta Airlines is based here. Roughly 70% of the passengers who are coming through this airport are flying Delta Airlines. This is a major hub for Delta. It's their biggest hub. You have all these passengers connecting. So the reason why the mornings tend to be terrible here is because the airport is essentially closed behind security. Overnight, there may be a few hundred or a couple thousand people back there just waiting for their overnight flight or waiting for their flight. But in the morning, you're obviously going to have those first flights of the day that those connecting passengers coming from other airports aren't going to be able to reach here. So those first flights are going to obviously be those people who are either starting their day here in Atlanta, who either live here or heading home to wherever they're going. And so that's why the mornings tend to obviously be the worst time, because you're going to have all of the people arriving at one time for those 7 to 8 o'clock flights before those other flights that are coming from the East Coast or anywhere else are coming in. So that's obviously going to play a role in how the mornings are obviously going to be a lot worse here, because people are starting their days here. We know that according to the airport, they expect about 300,000 people a day to transit this airport. Usually on any given day, you have anywhere from 80 to 100,000 people going through the TSA checkpoints. And so a lot of that happens earlier in the morning, and then obviously maybe people heading out after work, they'll come in the afternoon. But the middle part of the day, like right now, is a lot of those connecting passengers and not people who are starting their day here or ending their day here.
Yeah, well, maybe those people that you talked about who got there 5 hours early had the right idea. I mean, you know, especially if you're going on one of these trips for spring break, you're catching a cruise, you're linking up with an important connection. I mean, better safe than sorry, but it's unfortunate that people have to proceed with such caution out there at the airport. Hopefully, as you say, Tyler, some sort of resolution will be made in Congress to get these TSA workers back online and getting paid, which they deserve. Tyler Fingert out there at Hartsfield-Jackson. Tyler, thanks. Switching gears now, the family of 12-year-old Jada West has spoken out for the very first time this morning. The sixth grader died last week following a fight at a school bus stop. And, you know, that fight caught on camera. The mother coming out saying that the attack followed repeated bullying at Mason Creek Middle School. So the family came out, spoke today. The family's attorney this morning demanding answers.
My name is Harry Daniels, along with Gerald Griggs, also Kimberly Grant of Grant Law Office, and my co-counsel, Benjamin Crump. We have the honor of representing the West family. Let me start by saying this, is that I don't think anybody here standing here today want to be here today, and myself included. This is not just a representation for me of a client, but also a representation of my family member. I was related to Jada. Family, we are cousins, Mom and I. On March 5th, these parents received news, information no parent want to receive about what happened to their child. An innocent 12-year-old who only wanted to go to school, Jada, who was subjected to things that children should never be subjected to my understanding, reports that some bullying before, and especially on the day in question. We got a video circulating, and you can see from Jada's position that she did not want to fight anybody. She was concerned about why this person bothered her. It's my understanding the person who she ultimately got into an altercation with was, 2 years older than her in a higher grade. But we're not here to necessarily talk about that incident. We were here to talk about how this incident hopefully should have been avoided and how moving forward incidents like this don't occur. I'll be the first to tell you, and I think the attorneys over to my left will also tell you that we don't know everything. We do know we got a 12-year-old that should be here today, and we want to find out why she's not here. If it was some negligence by the school system, the bus driver, or anybody alike, or intentional act, we don't know. We are currently seeking that information through different channels. Law firms, my law firm, as well as Crump Law Firm, as well as the Grant Law Firm, is working in connection to find out the answers. We could never, ever, in any capacity, get justice for the West family, because we can't go back in time and stop what happened that day. That's the only way we can get true justice. But hopefully we get some measure of justice for them, that they would be a beacon of hope that no other parent had to stand before anybody talking about the loss of the child, a pain that cannot be described. I represent people all over the nation, and this is a fraternity that nobody wants to be a part of. With that being said, we're going to take some questions here, but I want to kind of open up. Standing to my right for Shonda West, this is Jada's mother, and to my left by his counsel is Mr. Jeremy West, Jada's father. That being said, I'm gonna have Mr. Griggs come up and speak. We're gonna do it at the end. Have Mr. Griggs come up and speak.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for everyone that is here. This is a situation that no one wants to find themselves in. We've been here before. I've stood here before and stated this unequivocally. Georgia has a bullying problem. Georgia has an accountability problem. And unfortunately, Jada will have to be the beacon of light to the entire state. And so I'm honored to stand here with her mother and her father and all the lawyers, but I'm disheartened that we are here again. You know, about 12 years ago, we sounded the alarm that Georgia has a bullying problem. And my hope is that the General Assembly would change the law to provide for more accountability in these situations. Unfortunately, they have not. But now there's an opportunity to get accountability because, as Attorney Daniels has said, as all the attorneys have said, true justice would be Jada being with us and not us talking about Jada. But given that the General Assembly is currently in session, they can do something about this. No more parents have to fear putting their child on a school bus and your child not coming back home. That's the worst feeling you could possibly have as a parent. But what I'm asking for the state of Georgia to do is a couple things. One, be fair.
These are the attorneys for the family of 12-year-old Jada West. The family kind of speaking out for the first time in the wake of the death of their 12-year-old daughter following that fight outside a school bus in which the parents said that little Jada West had been continuously bullied. The family now sort of reconciling all of this. Obviously, the community has wanted to hear from them. Your heart just goes out to that family. Nobody needs to lose a 12-year-old child just waiting for the school bus ready to go to school, but that is the case here, and the family's attorney stepping forward today addressing this situation. When we come back, the charges 2 local women now face after a local spa is shut down. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Fayette County officials say that it was complaints from the public that led them to a massage parlor bust and the arrest of 2 women. The recent sting shut down the day spa on Highway 54. Our Doug Evans has been on top of this story, following the details after this, Doug, undercover investigation which led to the alleged illegal activity happening inside.
Yeah, Tom, this started with citizen complaints, including one man who says he was pumping gas at a convenience store next door when one of the ladies came out of the business and solicited his business back inside the day spa. He complained to the sheriff's office, and the sheriff's office tells me that they've had numerous complaints about the day spa, and so they did investigate. Let me set this up just a little bit. The day spa is located in a shopping center that's at one of the busiest intersections in Fayette County. The sheriff tells me it's the #1 intersection for traffic accidents, so that gives you an indication of how many cars pass there. It's also right at the location where the world's largest data center is located as well in Fayette County. So it's probably no coincidence that this business has been operating there for some time, given the amount of traffic that goes by there. The sheriff tells me that they advertise walk-ins, they advertise chair massages, but they don't have a license for massage. They have a license for cosmetology. And so 2 undercover officers went in there, apparently to do an investigation. They characterized the women's behavior as very aggressive once they got in the door, offering them sex acts, the 2 undercover officers would report. That would lead to charges against 2 women for various sex crimes, and they say the business is now shut down, and the women have been arrested. They have since bonded out, and they expect that this business will not reopen at that location. At least that's the promise of the landlord who owns the property, Tom.
You talked about the aggressive nature with which these women allegedly behaved. And what caught my attention was the guy in the beginning of your live shot, you telling us about the guy gassing up, and these women come over and offer their services. That's pretty bold. That, of course, according to police, to go out and actually solicit somebody to come back inside.
Yeah, Tom, we've covered these things over the years, and I've covered a number of them. I remember 2 such investigations in neighboring Coweta County, one in Peachtree City and also one in Noonan as well. And so typically these places operate kind of, I want to use the right word here. They kind of keep a quiet existence, right? They just kind of operate, and nobody knows that they're there except for the people that go there and do business with them. And so they stay pretty quiet, have a quiet existence. They're not typically known for going out the door and trying to pull people inside.
That's what kind of stands out to me here. Obviously we live in Atlanta, the surrounding areas, there's massage places like everywhere, almost on every corner. Is where you are in Fayette County a place where those kind of places exist like everywhere you look?
No, I don't think so. I think that there are a couple here in Fayette County. There were a couple, as I said, in Coweta County. Those places have been shut down. So no, I don't think it's prevalent here in Fayette County. In fact, the sheriff tells me that they've never, he's probably a 3-term sheriff now. He's never had to investigate one in the county before. And in fact, when they went to do it, they had to get some help from outside agencies. How do we do this?
Yeah.
What do we need to do? We've gotten these complaints. We need to investigate this. How do we do this? In fact, I think one of the undercover officers was even borrowed from another agency for this investigation. So I don't think it's something that you see a lot here, or it's something that's prevalent in Fayette County.
Yeah. All right. A couple of women under arrest after allegations of illicit behavior going on inside the day spa on Highway 54. Doug Evans with the story for us this afternoon. Doug, thanks so much. Speaking of, and kind of on the same topic, but this happened 5 years ago, and it was just devastating. If you were here, certainly you remember it. The tragic spa shootings that happened here in the Metro Atlanta area and outside of, talked about it at a couple of locations, but one shooter. Lawmakers gathered at the state capitol today to honor the victims of that shooting. Representative Long Tran says the fight against hate crimes continues as they reflect on that dark day in Georgia history.
Our API community was rocked with a tragedy in which a lone gunman entered 3 API-owned businesses owned by women and murdered 6 women. A tragedy that changed the course of our API community, not just only politically, but in our community advocacy and how we approach serving and protecting our community. I serve as the chair of the API caucus, but at this time I'd like to introduce Representative Michelle Au, our past chair of the API caucus.
Thank you so much, Long. So, on March 16th of 2021, 5 years ago today, a gunman shot and killed 8 people in a barbaric rampage near Atlanta. Their names are Soon Chung Park, Hyung Jung Grant, Sun Cha Kim, Yong A. Yu, Xiao Jie Tan, Dao Yo Feng, Delania Ashley Yon Gonzalez, and Paul Andre Michaels. So let me say first, it's hard to actually believe that 5 years has passed already, but sometimes in the aftermath of a community tragedy, the passage of time can feel elastic. And the time elapsed can at once feel long, but also feel short. And the events from 5 years ago feel immediate in some moments and distant in others. And that in itself might feel distressing to many of us, because in some ways the distance from March 16th feels like distance from those we've lost when we try to keep them and their memories close. But the fact is, no matter how much time passes, there is a grief and a sense of injustice that will not fade. These were lives that were taken from us too soon. Those we lost were people who were deeply loved and needed, and whose stories embodied a vibrant picture of the America those of us who grew up in the immigrant community know well. Their lives were stories of work and of hope, of striving and dreams, and building a history in a country they came to call home.
Good, Harry.
On this 5-year anniversary, many will remember how they died, but they should be remembered for how they lived. And they should be remembered for all the good.
Listening to state lawmakers remembering the victims of the horrific spa shootings that took place here 5 years ago in the Metro Atlanta area, the lawmakers there reading the names of those victims just to remind us of exactly who they were, and asking us always to be mindful of hate crimes, particularly those that target specific groups. So our camera's there at the state capitol today at that commemorative service. Well, an Atlanta man is behind bars facing a long list of charges in the stabbing death of a 4-year-old girl. Our Annie Mapp covering this story for us today. She's here in studio and we'll have a report right after the break. Welcome back. You're watching the 3 p.m. streaming hour here on Fox Local. I'm your host, Tom Haynes, here in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom, joined this afternoon by our reporter, Annie Mapp, following the story of a man behind bars today, charged in the brutal stabbing death of his own daughter. Annie's been covering this story for us today, and the charges that Rashad Dixon, Annie, faces. This story so hard to even comprehend.
A very difficult story, Tom, I'll tell you, to even cover. I just spoke to his grandmother just a little while ago, and just, you can only imagine the pain that this family is feeling. 4 years old, a full life ahead of her.
Hang on, we're getting some audio interference, and I don't want that to kind of eclipse what you're saying. Why don't we start over with Rashad Dixon? He's the father of this 4-year-old girl, charged now in her stabbing death. And the circumstances surrounding all this are just incomprehensible, as we were saying.
Yeah, again, Tom, very tragic story. This all happened Saturday night. Atlanta police say they got a call regarding a domestic dispute at an apartment in Southwest Atlanta. They responded and they tried to enter the apartment. The door was locked. They were told that Rashad Dixon and a young girl were inside, so he was not opening the door. Police ended up having to force their way in through a window. And when they got inside, Tom, they were met just with this super, super tragic sight of Rashad allegedly holding his 4-year-old daughter, who the family has identified as Zuri Dixon, in his arms. She just severely injured with several stab wounds. She did have to be taken to an area hospital where she did end up dying from those injuries. So very heartbreaking story. Felt a lot of pain from that family as I've been speaking to them today. They just don't understand how someone could do this.
All stemmed from, as you said, this domestic dispute type situation. This poor 4-year-old caught in the middle. The victim of this stabbing. Now, Rashad Dixon, the father, charged with that murder. Police said they had to force their way into that apartment.
Right.
What kind of charges is he now facing?
Yeah, he's facing a long list of charges, as you can imagine. Aggravated assault. Obviously, he's also facing some murder charges here because, again, 4-year-old Zuri did die from those stab wounds. I mean, the grandmother who I spoke to told me she was stabbed several times. This is a 4-year-old who we imagine possibly doesn't have the ability to fight back against an adult male. Police say that the father, Rashad Dixon, also had some injuries himself and was taken to the hospital. We actually are trying to find out if he's still in the hospital because we haven't seen his name pop up on the Fulton County jail records just yet. But just very tragic. This all stemmed from, again, a fight between Rashad and Zuri's mom, and it just escalated to something that I don't think any family could imagine would happen. We did speak to some neighbors yesterday, and they share that they had seen some prior cases of domestic violence at that apartment. And when I spoke to the grandmother, she also said there had been some issues. They had been trying to get Rashad to get some assistance. They say he has battled some sort of mental issues in the past. The mother told me he had quit taking his medication, but they just never imagined that things could escalate as far as they did.
Unbelievable. Do we know about the mother in this case, what her condition is, what her situation is?
She is so distraught. I actually just spoke to her a little while ago.
Oh, wow.
She's so distraught. Not only do they have 4-year-old Zuri, but they also have an infant that's not even a year old that, now obviously doesn't know none of what happened, but will have to grow up and find out the story later. So she's very distraught. She's trying to figure out how to move forward following this situation because her life has just been torn apart. Very hard, yeah.
Yeah, Annie, just a devastating story. Our heart goes out to that family and that entire community. I mean, you're showing us video of the apartment complex here. An entire community undoubtedly shaken up after this devastating stabbing. Annie, we know you'll continue to follow for us. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Tom.
As we continue here, a second person dead after a triple shooting in downtown Athens Saturday morning. Sources telling our reporter that 19-year-old Dylan Bentley died a day after the shooting. 22-year-old Clayton Adams died on the scene immediately after the shooting. A third victim fighting to stay alive, we understand, this afternoon. The gunfire erupted in a parking lot near North Jackson Street before 2:20 in the morning. Under arrest, 22-year-old Mark D'Souza. He's facing charges of malice murder, aggravated assault, and aggravated battery. Adams' family tells us that one of the victims had been friends with D'Souza. They understand are devastated. Police have not shared a motive for the shooting or what led up to the gunfire. Of course, we'll keep you posted as we learn more information. A heartbreaking scene in South Fulton over the weekend after police say that a domestic dispute turned into a murder-suicide. Officers were called to a home on Diamond Chase just before noon on Saturday after a man reportedly threatened to harm himself and his wife. After an unsuccessful SWAT negotiation, police entered the residence to find both husband and wife dead. Investigators say the man called his sister to confess to the crime before turning the gun on himself. Neighbors described the couple as quiet, and police say they had no record of prior calls to that home. The fighting in the Middle East continues, and the Strait of Hormuz remains in focus as the president tries to rally other countries to secure that area. Israel and the U.S. are continuing to make devastating hits on Iranian targets as Operation Epic Fury enters its third week. The United Nations reports about 3.2 million people in Iran have been displaced since the fighting broke out. Iran still has enough drones to launch attacks across the Middle East, according to that report. The president, again, asking allies and China for help in reopening the Strait of Hormuz, where 20% of the nation's oil usually flows through. As we continue, and on a much lighter note here, we're expecting Shaq to make a big appearance for a huge giveaway, something Shaq is known to do. Our Chris Rosenthal there live. We understand that Shaq may make a live appearance as we continue here. Welcome back, everybody, on this Monday afternoon, a chilly one if you're here with us in North Georgia. I'm Tom Haines with you, live in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom. We appreciate you watching on our streaming app if you're on your mobile device at Fox Local, or if you're watching through one of your live channels at home. We certainly appreciate you being here as well. Through our social media sites on YouTube and TikTok at Fox 5 Atlanta, welcome to you as well. Or on the radio, 107.9 HD2 FM. Certainly glad you're with us today as we continue our coverage of international news today. President Trump suggesting that he may delay his trip to China. That was supposed to happen next month. The Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, says that this is not to be related to disagreements with Beijing on the Iran war or to put pressure on Beijing to assist in keeping the Strait of Hormuz open. His upcoming visit to China would be his first since back in 2017 during his first administration. China has warned that Trump's new tariffs move could jeopardize the U.S. and China's trade relationship. That was the intended reason for Trump's visit. The Treasury Secretary, leading a delegation of high-level talks with China in Paris, spoke briefly to reporters on Trump's scheduled visit to China.
Let's split that up. First of all, I want to absolutely bifurcate if the president's visit, and I'm saying if the president's visit is postponed, it would have nothing to do with the Chinese making a commitment to the Straits of Hormuz. It would obviously be in their interest to do so, but a postponement would not be as a result of any ask from the president not being met. The postponement, if it happens, would be because the Commander-in-Chief of the United States military believes that he should stay in the United States while this war is being prosecuted. What I would say about our talks here, they were constructive and they show the stability in the relationship. It is a continuation of Kuala Lumpur, the Busan agreement that was reached with our leaders to continue our work streams. I'll let Ambassador Greer walk through what we discussed.
So what we've concluded today really is the general terms of a work plan between now and the meeting between the presidents, with the idea that there'll be potential deliverables at that meeting. We, of course, discussed compliance with the Busan agreement. This means rare earths, etc. From time to time, we will get information from U.S. companies or stakeholders about the status of receiving rare earths, and so we covered issues like that.
Would you say now that basically as long as the war continues, that the Commander-in-Chief can't leave the country, can't go to China?
No, that's not what I said. I said if it is postponed. I said I was making it very clear that if it is postponed, the reason it would be postponed would not be because the president insisted on the Chinese taking an active role in the Strait of Hormuz.
All right, Scott Bessent, Jamison Greer talking about the president's pending trip to China. That now slated to be delayed amid the crisis in Iran and the Strait of Hormuz. We'll see if China and other nations can get behind the U.S. to sort of secure the reopening of that strait to bring oil prices down. Cuban leaders confirming talks with the United States as rare protests erupt on that island. The unrest is growing throughout the country, fueled by shortages of food and medicine and blackouts due to America's oil embargo. A crowd attacked the Communist Party headquarters in the city of Mahron. Cuba's leaders have confirmed a new round of talks with the Trump administration, but Cuba's president is pushing back, saying his country is still, quote, organized, and he won't be bullied into abandoning the ideals of the Cuban Revolution. The American negotiating team will be led by Secretary of State Marco Rubio. As we continue here, we talked about Shaquille O'Neal making a big appearance today. Back in Henry County to bring a life-changing surprise to a local family. Our Chris Rosenthal is there live. You've been on Shaq watch, so to speak, Chris. Is the big guy there? And then this family receiving this generous gift this afternoon.
Yeah, the big guy is there. You can see him behind me. He's getting ready. Things are they're getting ready to bring a bunch of kids in to meet Shaquille O'Neal. They're having a little bit of a pizza party right now, and he's been hanging out with the kids. He's a pretty generous guy. I saw him shooting hoops with some kids, and giving them a few dollars if they make a shot. So just while we wait for family and other folks to show up to get this special prize, a special gift. And I'm here with Jackie from Carvana. She's part of this. This is done by Carvana and by Boys and Girls Club and Shaquille O'Neal. Tell me a little bit about what's going on here today.
Yeah, absolutely. And so Carvana is always looking for ways for us to give back to the communities where our team members work, where our customers work as well. Yeah. We're excited to partner with the Boys and Girls Club to identify a family that needs a little additional support and to provide a car in partnership with Shaq to give to this mom who is deeply embedded in this community and deeply embedded with this Boys and Girls Club. So just excited for us to be able to give back to the community in any way that we can.
Yeah, and I don't want to give away her name yet because she hasn't showed up to get the surprise, but yeah, she's felt a little bit of hard times and she needs some wheels for her kids, huh?
Exactly. A mom with 3 great kids. The kids play here at the Boys and Girls Club. Obviously, she works as well, and so important to have reliable transportation for her kids as well. And so excited to just help out where we can.
What's she getting? Can you say?
Sorry, what was that?
What kind of car is she getting?
She's getting a Chevy Equinox.
Nice, very nice. So what does this mean to you guys?
Yeah, we're just always looking for ways to give back, right? And so our team members work in these communities, our customers live in these communities, and any way we can find an opportunity to support and help where we can, we're going to do that.
Gotcha. We're just waiting for them to show up, huh?
Exactly. We're so excited. It's going to be such a cool moment.
I got big man Shaq right here. Hey, Shaq, tell me, what does this mean to you to be here today?
Sheriff Breckman's country. This is what we always do in the community of Henry County. Today, myself, Henry County Sheriff's Department, and Carvana, we're handing out a brand new car to a deserving young, beautiful woman.
How does it feel to be able to do this for somebody?
I mean, it feels good. You know, the best feeling I'm going to get out of it is when my mama sees this, she's going to give me a hug, a kiss. She's going to have some of that sweet potato pie over some fried chicken and macaroni. Get that. Love you, mommy.
Wonderful, wonderful. How does an idea like this come about?
Well, you know, me and the sheriff, we've done over how many events have we done? 380. 380 this year. So, you know, we've done a lot of events this year, and, you know, we just want to make people happy and make people proud here in Henry's County, which we refer to as God's country.
Wonderful. All right, well, we'll stick around and wait for this to happen, and
forever. You know who I am.
Awesome. All right. Well, there's Shaq. He's got an awfully big heart here, and so again, we're just waiting for this family to come, and we'll hang with them and see their reaction when they get this really nice surprise, a much needed surprise for these folks in need.
I just love that Shaq is every one of his giveaways like this. They never get old. They're always awesome. He always shows up. You know, he's not a gift giver from afar. Shaq's there. He's present. And the fact that you just popped off an interview with him in advance of this big giveaway for what he described as this deserving family to have this vehicle was amazing. He obviously has a lot of love for the sheriff there, giving him a big hug and a big embrace. That is going to be some moment. When do we expect this family to come in there?
They should be coming in they tell me right around 4 o'clock. So,
all right.
Yeah, so you know we'll be here to follow. We'll be here to follow along and you know show it to you. So.
Incredible and always so inspiring to see the smiles that Shaq is able to put on so many faces. So involved in our community. We're so fortunate to have him here in the Metro Atlanta area, as is the family that is about to receive that car from Carvana. Chris Rosenthal out with the big guy himself, Shaquille O'Neal. Chris, thanks. And thank you for joining us here for the 3 p.m. streaming hour of Fox Local. I'm Tom Haynes, live in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom. Don't go anywhere. The news continues right here, right now.